Imagine everything you love about the hobby in the palm of your hand. An entire store at your fingertips. Everything you need to know about cards is within your grasp. Unlock the secrets of the hobby. Plus, so much more. You don't have to imagine anymore. It's here. Card Ladder. Get the app today.
What's up, guys? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. What's up, Josh?
Yo.
How goes it?
One of those days.
It's definitely been one of those days.
You having a bad day too?
Nah. Middle of the road day by the standard of the last 9 months, 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
Ebbs and flows. What's up, Mike Pinkerton, Card Shop Dad, Alex? You are very welcome, sir. Brett, Offlix, got the whole squad coming in on Friday night. Chrissy Buckets. We'll just let people pour in here. That is a LaMelo Ball rookie card on display.
You're rich.
Yeah, I'm killing the game. Okay, let me start us off with some announcements. First of all, for those who may not be aware, our very own Josh of Cardboard Chronicles and now Card Ladder fame was on New York City Fox News as an ambassador for the hobby alongside a representative from Heritage Auctions. Josh, we've all seen the video, obviously, of your New York City News debut. What was it like filming and, going on the show? Was it fun? How long did they interview you for? Give us a little peek behind the scenes, man.
The whole thing happened within like a 30-minute time window. Like the anchor messaged me on Instagram. I guess he's a Card Ladder user, and just said like he likes our content and he likes crossover, and he said he wants to have me on one of their little bits they're doing, which is kind of a silly bit. It's kind of like pretty surface level stuff, but I was like, yeah, any exposure I guess is good. So yeah, I'll do it. And they called me on Zoom, and it was probably like 10 minutes long. And it just kind of reminded me that like people outside the hobby just they really don't know anything about it. They just kind of whatever they hear on the news or whatever they've heard in passing. Like a lot of his questions that he asked me were in reference to like, aren't cards like worthless? Like when I was doing it in the 90s or I heard about it, it was just like crap in the attic and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it kind of, but like it's changed. I had to explain like rarity and condition and serial numbers to him. So it's kind of interesting to hear like a completely, novice in the space. It's interesting.
Yeah, so I'm saving this for hour 2, but I have to touch on it now. Howard Stern had some remarks on cards this week. He was teasing one of the co-hosts on the Stern show for buying into breaks and buying cards. And he told the guy, you spent $700 so far this year on baseball cards, and you should have just put that money into a mutual fund, and you should have just invested it instead of buying into these breaks. And, I was like, well, I could see how and why somebody would say something like that. And, I don't want to conflate breaking with the strategic acquisition of highly collectible cards because they're two very different things. But it does make me wonder, is there even a way to bridge that gap between the reasonable conservative minded skeptic and getting them to where we're at with sports cards, where we're just totally obsessed, we follow the market religiously? Is there any way to bridge that gap over the course of a 20-30 minute conversation, do you think?
No. Well, I mean, especially like guys like you and I mean, there's a lot of people in the hobby now that are just sort of like investor, like they have cards in their portfolio, whatever. You could bridge that gap pretty quick, but like the gap to us, like collectors and people who are kind of like, weird about it almost. No.
Yeah, very true. Very true. All right. Well, I want to save remarking further on the Howard Stern thing for hour 2. I do want to call attention. Offlix asked, "Hey, Lefko, who's a better hang, Chris or Josh?" And that's funny because if you didn't see it, there's a clip on the TNT Tuesday night show with Lefko, Shaq, Wade, and Candace. And Lefko asks the guest, Jimmy Butler, who's a better hang, Mark Wahlberg or Dwayne Wade? And Shaq thought he said something else, something slightly different. Who has the better hang of the two?
Oh, no.
And so hilarity ensues. So if you have not watched that clip, I don't know, maybe Google some of those words or YouTube some of those words. Very, very funny clip. Love that show. I almost love that show more than half the games that they show before the show comes on. So, all right, a few more announcements here. The CL50, the index and the player indices. So Josh is displaying the CL50. Josh, talk a little bit about the CL50, man.
It's basically the card ladder 50, which is the card ladder version of the Dow, and the S&P 500, which is just basically like an index of 50 cards selected by myself and Chris, and we're dating it back to when we launched the app, which is 7/23. Actually, this first one's 7/24, and we basically took 50 cards, averaged out their current value, divided it by how many cards we have, and that kind of gives you the CL50 value, which as of today, it's 21,024. When we launched, it was 7,600. So you can kind of, from that, extrapolate that since we launched, cards have tripled in value.
Okay, just for those who maybe, the internet went out for a second. Since Card Ladder launched as a tracking tool, so since we have, we have all-time sales histories, but like if you want to go back to like around the time we launched, the Card Ladder index reveals that these 50 cards that we're tracking in the aggregate have tripled in value as an index. Tripled. That is astonishing.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, yeah, I was looking to see when it started to really run up, and basically like since Christmas Day, the day after Christmas, it started to really run up. So we went from 7,600 in June to almost 12,000 on Christmas, and it's basically like almost doubled since then. It's kind of wild to see. Christmas, that's kind of like, oh, this is all like COVID times. You think like, oh, it's just been running up consistently since COVID, but Christmas, of all things, I'm not sure about that.
Take a scroll, please, if you wouldn't mind, through the cards that comprise the CL50, because I think, Josh, you did an expert job crafting the heart and soul of these 50, and I chimed in a bit as well, but like Josh really masterminded this list. So some of the stuff we got, there's soccer, basketball, football, hockey, I think tennis might even be represented. Yeah. Pokemon and gaming is represented. It's a very diverse selection, but it's also nothing, that's way out of bounds either. It's like, it's just the key iconic cards. And like, we had a tough time, like, should we put, should Mahomes and Luka go in there or not? And we ultimately decided to include them. There was a lot of tough decisions. Key Ronaldo rookies in there. It's just tough, but we wanted, the purpose of an index is never to represent an industry as a whole, because there's plenty of sports cards. The vast majority of sports cards never gain value. They never really lose. They just are, very cheap cards. They just never change. All the commons, everything. But for those iconic cards that are looked at as highly collectible, as having a value, an important value, financial dimension to them, the goal was to try and capture the general trend here. And, you can browse through, and like Josh, we got the Dr. J rookie card in there. It's tough. Trying to pick the cards that would comprise an index like this is tough. Do you have any insights in terms of like any close calls you had to make? Should this one come in? Should this one not?
The Lucas Silver was a hard one because it's just so new and there's just not enough data, and it's gonna that card's gonna kind of cause the index to fluctuate a lot. But I did want to try to tell the story of the hobby, and if it were up to me, there would be a lot more rare stuff in here. But you can't really make an index without accurate, up-to-date sales data and accurate current values of cards. So that doesn't really work for rare cards, and I would love to have done that, but we kind of had to stick to stuff with up-to-date data. And the Luka one, I still feel like it's good to have some balance in legends and goats in the CL 550, because otherwise it's just it's heavily weighted in one direction. So I'm trying to spread it out and trying to make it a little bit diverse to really encapsulate the whole hobby.
Yeah, and that's what makes the run up so interesting. The one that's that you identified as going back to late December.
Yeah.
Because this there's cards from every generation, from every major sport represented in here. So if only one of those segments was moving, you wouldn't see the big aggregate movement that we saw. So it really is kind of indicating quite the interest in the hobby. And then let's talk about this. So not only did we roll out the CL50, we rolled out about, 1,000 more indices. I don't know how many different players we have in the ladder.
777?
Oh, God. Okay. All right. That's a lot. So explain what the player indices are.
So for every player that we have in our database, every night I pull all the cards that they have. I add up all their sales data for that day and track the 24-hour sales volume. And then also for each player, we pick an index card for that player. So the cards that you see in the CL50 are index cards for each player. And for all of the other 700 and whatever players, Chris and I chose the index card that represents that player. So if you look at LeBron, it's obviously the Topps Chrome PSA 10, and you can sort of extrapolate that his index would follow a similar pattern to his Topps Chrome PSA 10, give or take, obviously, depending on the rarity of a card, et cetera, et cetera. But it's a pretty good indicator of the LeBron market in general. And then, we decided to dedicate a page in the app to each player. So you could analyze the data. You can look at sales volume. And this graph pretty much tracks the same sort of rate as the entire dashboard card ladder index. So it's kind of a nice representation of LeBron, Jordan, and Kobe basically are always top 3 in sales volume every day, and their graphs chart what we're doing in the total. So it's kind of interesting to see that. And then we just list out all their cards so you can get into searching for whatever cards you want of a specific player and really narrow down and get some more data for each player.
Look, yes, we had a lot of requests. Could there be player ladders? Yes, now they exist. Every player in the database now has effectively their own ladder, and it's their own ladder plus, because as Josh just laid out, we've identified one card that we think is fairly representative of the general market trend for the player. Of course, it doesn't apply to all their cards. And then we also give you the total sales volume that each player experiences from a day-to-day basis, just like a snapshot of just this player, but the same functionality as what you see on the card ladder dashboard. So really next level analytics work here that took many weeks of coding behind the scenes to get this done. So I want to hit up a couple questions. Jordan Hudson says, you guys aren't raising prices, are you? No, we are not. But man, I feel better and better about the value than the bang for the buck that you get. Chrissy Buckus wants to know, how does he get to the CL50? So
just cardladder.com.
Yep.
Or
cardladder.com. Yes, sir.
Or the Pro app, if you're in the Pro app as well. It's just a new nav item. We put little new labels in the Pro app.
There you go.
Yeah. I met with Cole today, the designer, another engineer on the team, and we mapped out the next couple weeks of what we want to do, and it's it's kind of nuts. We got a lot more coming, and yeah, we don't plan on changing the price. And we want to make a lot of cool updates to the app to make the app a lot better. I noticed that people were doing a lot of searching on the app. Like someone posted a video of, I think it was Ryan Card Collector 2 posted a video of someone using the app in a store to like search prices, which I think is cool. Like people using the app to search so what something's worth kind of on the fly. And so we want to make search better, faster to get to it. We want to be able to search players on every page. Like there's a lot of cool stuff coming.
Oh my God, there's more coming. That's man.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, there's a few more questions I think. Shout out NBA Diamonds. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Appreciate the comments. GMI Flips had asked above, how were the grades selected for the cards that comprise the CL50?
Yes. It's based on sales volume. We just want like the more sales there are, the more accurate it is. We try to pick grades that sell often enough, but also the grades were high enough that it better represented the hobby, because like, you know, most people want higher conditions. So like ideally they'd all be PSA 10s. But we have some BGS cards in there, but we want to make sure that it sells enough times. Like a PSA 10 Gretzky, what's that? We can't get any value from that because it sells once every decade.
Indeed, and no bias against BGS, but the problem with BGS from a data tracking point of view is subgrades. You got it. So subgrades can complicate things and make it look like prices are fluctuating in a way that they might not be. The variance might be due to the subgrades. Adam Lefko asks, did I just see the LeBron has a dip?
Yeah.
The 2003 Topps Chrome PSA 10 has taken a small step back, as has the 86 Fleer in the last few days.
Yeah, of course. We talked about it last week. Like, just a matter of time.
Indeed. Okay, all right. So lots of questions, guys. Appreciate the question. We need to move on, but you can reach out to us, obviously, outside of the show. Another feature that was added is shop on eBay. Really nice feature. What is this feature, Josh?
It's literally just showing cards that are ending in the next hour with the most watchers. So it just literally just is like, here's what most people are looking at. It's interesting. You know, it doesn't really give you the power to like search whatever you want. You know, that's kind of what eBay is for. This is kind of a fun like window into what people are watching the most. Because I feel like on eBay, they don't really have this sort. And it's kind of cool to just like see, oh, what are people bidding on right now? And dude, every time I come in here, there's always some card that I'm like, holy crap, that card's ending in. Like the one time I went in here was the Stardate PSA 10 Kobe, which is getting a lot of buzz because of just how much it's gone up and is it manipulated and stuff. And I saw like the auction ending in here. It was interesting.
Speaking on the topic of Stardate really quickly, I was talking on Clubhouse today to Drake, great collector, and he was explaining to me, after he heard us talking about Stardate last week, he quickly went onto Facebook and sold his PSA 9 of Kobe, and he got to talking with the buyer. He said the buyer was a newly minted GameStop short sell millionaire.
Nice.
Who's moving into cards, who is relatively new to the card space and just loves Stardate, and he's just building the Stardate set. And I thought that was a really interesting anecdotal insight into how we might understand some of the absolute volatility and meteoric rises we're seeing in cards recently. Tilt the camera. I can't quite see the graph on it. I can only see the left-hand side of the graph.
The Stardate is going through some things.
Yeah, Stardate is going through some things. Still not fully convinced that the 70K sale is real. There's been 3 more sales of PSA 10s since the 70K for 44, 44, and 20K. So I think we're going to put the brakes on a 70K sale. It may be real, it may not be, but we've got enough data points now to so Stardate cooling off a bit. But anyway, interesting piece of insight there. So the shop on eBay is another new feature, and guys, there was one more new feature added to the Card Ladder site today. I promise the infomercial for Card Ladder will stop after this. We're just very excited about this stuff. There's one more feature added: collection individual quantity. A highly requested feature was added to the My Collection feature. So Josh, what is the collection individual quantity feature that was added?
So previously, for each card, you could only say how many you have and how much you paid on average. So now you can break it out and say what you paid, when you bought it, if you sold it, and how much you sold it for on an individual quantity level. So if you've got 5 copies of a card, you could have 5 different prices that you purchased them for and 5 different sale prices, 5 different dates. You could have 3 of them that sold and 2 that are still in your collection. And then it sort of like aggregates them up to the top of like how much profit you've made and how much potential profit is left on the ones you still have, et cetera, et cetera.
Awesome. Last announcement. There is a new Sports Cards Culture episode on YouTube. How to find sports cards to collect besides expensive rookies. Sports Cards Culture episode 10 on the Card Ladder YouTube. If that strikes your fancy, please feel free to checking that episode out. All right, let's move into some questions. I forgot to say this, but today is Friday, February 19th, 2021. Say that for the benefit of listeners who tune in on different podcast platforms and or on YouTube. That's the date. That's the time of recording. If you want to check out the live stream, it goes 11 p.m. Eastern on Friday nights, and there's no telling when it stops. So all right, that's that. First question today. Obviously, this is no surprise that we got the most questions about this topic. It was very newsworthy this week. Let me acknowledge a few of the questions on this topic. Venezuelan League Stickers says, thoughts on the Goldin Investment Group news. Alex Halima writes in, please discuss the $40 million investment in Goldin, the investor list, what this means for the hobby, platform, etc. Flippity Flip Cards says the Chernin Group, Kevin Durant, Cuban, Bill Simmons purchasing a majority stake in Goldin. CZ Cards says, does the Goldin auction sale determine me, or we are going to see a bunch more Kevin Durant cards? For those of you out there who might not know what we're talking about, let me just get our facts straight here before we discuss. This comes from the Bloomberg article written by Lucas Shaw on February 16th about this topic. It says, Ken Goldin has made millions selling sports cards. Now he's lined up an even bigger score. His company, the sports memorabilia mogul, is selling a majority stake in Goldin Auctions, an 8-year-old shop dedicated to auctioning collectibles, and it's being sold to Chernin, which leads a blockbuster group of investors, KD, Cuban, YouTube co-founder Chad Hurley, Logan Paul, and Bill Simmons. The group is investing $40 million in Goldin to help the company become the dominant player in the booming market for the sports trading cards. Sales have soared, yada, yada. It generated more auctions in January than it did in all of 2019. That's speaking of Goldin. Goldin is on pace for more than $200 million in sales, doubling its record take from a year earlier. And I'll close with this. Ken Goldin is quoted as saying, we have something the hobby has never had before. All of a sudden, we're cool. We are part of pop culture. All right, so that's background on what we're talking about in case you don't know. So let me turn it over to you, Josh. People would like to know your thoughts on the Goldin Investment Group news.
Well, the prospecting level on the hobby is increasing vastly, and I don't mean prospecting on prospects. I mean, people that don't know the hobby, that have heard about it in passing, are now being exposed to it, and they're more aware of it through all these different avenues. And this purchase is really going to open that up even more. And so, there's a lot of new people that are going to still be flooding in through these guys. Like Logan Paul is going to be promoting this, and Mark Wahlberg, Mark Cuban. It's just like yet another layer that brings us closer to public mania for those paying attention. And like kind of the same thing that I said in reaction to the Nat Turner news and PSA. I'll remain excited and hopeful, and support those people and be positive about it. I stand by for the execution and the results. I'm an execution guy. I want to see how it actually plays out. I want to see if improvements are made to the website, and we've talked about that a bunch on here. I think that's got to be first order of business for the Chernin Group. Figure out how to hire a development team and build that all out and make it more of a professional website and business structure. But Ken's done a great job so far, and he's laid out a great foundational piece for those guys to come in and improve things. So like on paper, it makes a lot of sense to me. And like I said, I'll wait for the execution of it.
Yeah, I think that's a very even-handed, fair observation. Obviously, this comes from both Josh, myself, Christina, the whole Card Ladder team. Congratulations, of course, go to Ken, to Goldin Auctions, to the people who work there, to the churning group, to everybody involved with this. I think everybody involved is embarking on something very exciting, and congrats to them. I want to point out this was observed by Carlos on the Because It's Carlos YouTube channel. He has some really great snap reaction and analysis on a lot of different topics. He pointed out that $40 million isn't really that much in the scheme of multi-round capitalization and investment in companies, and I think that's a good point. While we obviously should and do celebrate this infusion of capital into one of the most prestigious auction houses in the industry, by the same token, we should have some perspective. Collectors Universe was just acquired for $850 million. So that kind of puts 40 million infusion into perspective a bit. So we should just keep that in mind. I thought my final thought on this. I thought Ken had a highly entertaining live stream where he discussed the news and he was happy, and everybody else was happy for him. It was a great moment in hobby history, one might even say. But then he had Timberlake come onto the stream, and Timberlake was in the studio, and it must have been poor lighting because he was squinting. But Timberlake actually had the remark of the stream, in my opinion, when Ken said, "Hey, look, man, I've got your MJ Fleer PSA 10 that you acquired. I've got it right here. I'm shipping it to you." And Timberlake replied, he said, "You know why I love cards?" He goes, "Because it makes me feel like a kid again." That's all he said. But in that one sentence, he really kind of summarized the entire reason why cards are what they are, in my opinion. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I do, yeah. I mean, with all these new people coming in, and especially like the bigger name people that we're all sort of looking to see what their reaction to the hobby is, or their take on it so far. I listen for statements like that. Like, are they saying it's nostalgic and fun for them, or are they saying like things like diversify my portfolio? Because it's like the public mania that Bitcoin reached and then subsequently crashed heavily, and has obviously since recovered, but it's been years to recover. When it went from 20,000 to 2,000, that whole public mania was fueled by everyone's greed and desire to make money on it, and then the people who had held it a long time cashed out, and all the real money sort of like moved, and the price went down, and all the people that jumped in on the public mania lost a lot of money and got burned. And that same thing could happen here. The difference, though, the difference between Bitcoin and cards is the statements like that. Like, I'm getting into this because it reminds me of when I was a kid. It's fun for me. It's nostalgic. I enjoy it. If a bunch of people, like, we're seeing this with all this new money coming in, and all the existing players who have a lot of this stuff that could basically like retire if they sold some cards, but they don't want to because they still like the cards, and that's not the reason I got into it, was to sell and make a lot of money. Guys like you and myself, like, we still keep the cards because we enjoy them and it's fun for us. So that's the difference between us and Bitcoin. And when you're posting up the public mania graphs of the bubble and all that stuff, but if we just keep having more and more public mania around the greed and the statements like portfolios and management, investing in funds, that it does worry me. So to hear someone say he's doing it for nostalgia is very positive. I guess is that what you took from it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I've been on Clubhouse a lot over the last week or so. Very addicting. Christina can testify to this. Christina has to just leave the room when she sees me playing up the Clubhouse app because she knows it's going to get annoying very quickly. But I've been on there, and I've been talking to people a lot about cards, and but a lot of these rooms have, Clubhouse is populated by people who are really into crypto. And so a lot of these rooms get filled up with some people who, maybe are somewhat interested in cards, but they're definitely interested in crypto. And so, you know, the two topics can overlap sometimes. And I find people really inquiring into the investment dimension of cards and stuff like that. And it just dawns on me, I would have never gotten back into cards in 2016 if the basis for it was like, man, if I buy this card, it's going to double in value. That was not even close to the thing that brought me back to cards. The thing that brought me back to cards was I pulled out this big box of them from my closet, my childhood closet. I went through it for 2 weeks, sorted everything, went on Walmart runs to buy top loaders and penny sleeves, put everything in a top loader and penny sleeve. I was putting 10-cent Chris Mullins cards into top loaders and penny sleeves. I had no idea what I was doing, but all I knew was that this reminded me of childhood. This was fun. This was escapism at its peak. This was happening during that electrifying Cavaliers Warriors finals. Like I was just like on cloud nine. It was the experience and the nostalgia and the remembrance and just having so much fun doing cards that brought me back to cards. It was not their property as an investment. So you guys all know our philosophy and take on stuff, but like to hear Timberland sort of, you know, no matter how new, I don't know how new he is to collecting. Maybe he has a better collection than anybody. I don't know. But to hear him distill collecting down to that very simple, concise, direct point of view that, you know, I love getting a card in the mail because it makes me feel like a kid again. In a lot of ways, to echo what you said, that kind of sums up what makes the hobby special.
Well, you and I have talked to a lot of people in the hobby, and we've sort of like come up with a pretty good filtration system for like, are you in this for the right reasons or not? Pretty quick. Like we can just tell in conversations. It usually comes down to like what we're talking about now, these conversations, and the people who understand the long-term like potential and growth of the hobby are the ones who understand like why people collect cards and how that is the sustainable model going forward. And so, you know, we just need more of that stuff from all of our leaders. It's just like, yeah, I don't have anything else to add to that.
Okay, good though. That's so very exciting news to recap. Very exciting news coming out of Goldin, and also, you know, Goldin has a huge auction ending soon. And it was funny, all the group chats and collectors that I talked to after Goldin made that announcement, everybody said, damn, we all just got outbid on all of our Goldin items that we're bidding on right now. So clearly the news infused a whole new round of momentum. Is there anything interesting going on right now at because there's still like 3 weeks left or something crazy like that before this auction ends?
I think it's like 2 weeks. The Kobe's over $1 million before the buyer's premium. Excuse me. 2 weeks left, so it's next Saturday. 2 weeks from tomorrow. LeBron's at 850. The LeBron logo man's at 850. I mean, everything's really high. I haven't gone to like page 12 where I know there's lots of crazy stuff. I haven't looked at everything, but everything's insanely expensive. So
one good bellwether, I couldn't believe what I saw. I believe there's a LeBron Topps Chrome Refractor PSA 10 pre-buyer's premium. Bear in mind the buyer's premium is 20%. That is reflecting a final price. I believe it's a $200K already. $200K.
202.
202. So after buyer's premium, so that card's already at $250,000.
Oh my God.
And I feel like that's the sleeping giants in this auction right now. That already absolutely shatters the previous records for that card by more than double. And that price, if realized, would eclipse the rate of growth of the Topps Chrome PSA 10 because Card Ladder is predicting a value of $200K on that card, and it's already at 240 or 250. And the prediction is just based on the growth of the Chrome-based PSA 10. So that refractor, after buyer's premium, is going to be around 240K. That is the sleeping giant of this auction. I'm keeping a close eye on that auction because that auction already is in, you know, outer space territory, approaching the moon quickly.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah. So, but very exciting auction there. Over 5,000 lots. Maybe some people will get some steals. Who knows? All right. Let me move on to the next question here. CD Card says, please take 30 seconds and marvel at Bob M. Track's exquisite posts over the last 2 weeks. I thought that was certainly an appropriate request. Bob M. Track, for those who have not yet listened to his Cardboard Chronicles interview, is perhaps the greatest LeBron James collector on the face of the earth. What are we looking at here, man?
He's got the greatest LeBron collection ever. It's not really close, to be honest. He's been posting all of his one-on-one stuff, which is kind of what sets it apart for me. Like, if you've got all the one-on-one Topps Chrome stuff and all the one-on-one Black Prisms, like, okay, well, nobody else can have this stuff, so you kind of are winning. And then it's like, oh, he's also got, like, I've never even, all the patches on this set are horrible, and I'm not sure how he's got one with a really good patch. It does 9.5 of the 99. He's got the 9.5 of the limited logos out of 75. He's got another one with, what the heck is that patch? It's just insane. He's got the 9.5 23 of 23 number pieces LeBron rookie exquisite. For those who don't know, 2003 exquisite is just like, in my opinion, the greatest set of sports cards ever made. It's just like the pinnacle of what sports cards have become. It's the beginning of it. It's the best. So that's just one man's opinion, I guess. And it's LeBron's rookie year, and he's just got all of it. It's just nuts. Like, I don't. He's just got like all this stuff. All these other cards that are selling for like millions of dollars now, and he's got them all, like multiples of them, 9.5s, higher grade than you'll ever see at auction, better patches. Because that's the thing, though. Like, the stuff that hits auction these days isn't this kind of stuff, because this is the cream of the crop that's already been picked away by collectors, and they've stowed it away, and they're not sending it to auctions. We're sort of getting the look at like the leftovers, kind of, as it were, and the cards that have been in dealers' hands and getting passed around a little bit. But these like old time collection museum type pieces, like with these insane patches, are locked away in collections like Bob's, and that's why when you see this, you're sort of like shocked that there's better patches out there, but they definitely exist.
Yeah, beautifully put. It is inspiring to look at this guy's collection. I always take a weird sense of calmness from seeing collections that are orders of magnitude more impressive than anything I will ever be able to put together over the course of my life. That you could almost say it's a nice reminder that there's always, people doing great, amazing things out there, but also just like there are people so deeply ingrained in this hobby with such terrific collections. And you know what my favorite line is on the entire page of Bob M. Track's Instagram page? NFS, not for sale. The guy has built a great collection, and he just enjoys it. Thank you for sharing that. Yep, go ahead.
He's very quiet about it too. Like, if you watch the interview, he just like, how'd you do it? And what's your secret? Oh, I went on eBay every day for the last 20 years, and I bought everything. Oh, that's a very simple answer for a dumb question, I guess. I should have known. It's like guys coming in now who are able to get a PSA 10 Fleer Jordan. You can't replicate something like Bob has and like Tim has and people that have collected for years and years. You can't replicate it because they have the advantage of time and, effort and passion. You just can't like recreate that. So it's really cool to see, the history of it and seeing someone that has all that stuff and they've accumulated it as a collector over time. And there's no investor that you're going to find from, that has stuff like this, because you would have, like you said, when you came back in 2016, that wasn't really the tone. Can you imagine what it was in 2003? Like, there was very little of that talk going on at all. It was just like, are you a collector? What do you want? What are you trying to add to your PC? And that's all it was. And so, that the people that collected back then, that's what they were doing.
100%, dude. 100%. All right. We have a question from MC Basketball PC. Do you like for your non-hobby friends and or family to follow your hobby? Why or why not? So what do you think about this one, dude?
Yeah, I do. I think it's fun. Who doesn't like sharing their hobbies and interests with family and friends, and having them be interested in it? Obviously, like, my family and friends kind of thought it was dorky and stupid up until like the last year, and now they're asking me a lot of questions. So that's kind of, like, I don't know, you only care now because there's a lot of money in it or whatever. Don't you have one of these? I saw an article, like that kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, now you care. Um, so that's interesting. But no, it's fun. I think it's I enjoy it. I have fun with it. My family's very into it, obviously more because of Card Ladder than the cards, because they're interested in like how our lives are pivoting career-wise. But no, it's fun.
Yeah, it is. I want it to be all or nothing. If somebody who is not, interested in the hobby takes an interest in it, then I want it, to be full-fledged and legitimate. And I want them to totally get involved with the hobby, start collecting, start a PC, like have eBay on your phone, become an obsessed, compulsive, like all of us have become, or just don't even take an interest at all. But like the little, the in-between, like, like once a week, like, hey, how are cards doing? It's like, oh man, how do I answer this question? Like I can't answer that question. So, so like to me, it's got to be either an all or nothing. But I think the joy that the hobby brings, the happiness, we have, not to get too philosophical or big picture here, but we all have limited spans on this earth. The hobby has made my life so much better, so much happier, that if that joy could be shared with somebody else, I'll take the time required to welcome them into the hobby and let them give it a shot. But fun question, MC. Appreciate that, man. All right, this comes from Grail Card Quest and is especially topical given that the Dallas Card Show in March is coming up. He writes, can you talk about what it's like, or can you talk about what you like to do, rather, when you go to a card show? Like, do you take some cards with, or is it just cash? Is PWCC vault transfer common? Do you typically get better deals at a show? What mindset do you like to have when you go? I imagine many of us will start heading to shows in the next 3 to 6 months, and plenty of us have no experience in that world.
So it's so interesting. You know how we always joke that like PSA and BGS are going to unleash this flood of like all these cards? I feel like that's, this flood of people that have never been to a show before because of COVID are all going to go at once. No, you don't get better deals at shows. In fact, I would argue that it's a lot worse because a lot of people go there just to kind of show off, and they have insane sticker prices that you would never pay unless you were an insane person. So like, and you're not going to find like more rare stuff necessarily. It happens. Like, that's usually the question I used to get like in 2017, 2018, but like, no, I've found that it's pretty normal. Like, you'll probably see collections that you recognize from Instagram or eBay, and you're like, oh, I know you. So it's not as like romantic as you might think in that regard. So like, set your expectation there. It's still like people trying to make money at a card show. I used to bring cards back when I went to card shows, a year and a half ago. I did bring cards because that's why I went, because it's fun to like share collections with friends and meet up with people, and I like the whole community aspect of it more than the buying and selling and trading. But I'm not sure if I'd bring cards anymore. It's just too much financial risk at this point. What's the question about PWCC? Do they vault transfer at the shows?
Is it common to see PWCC vault transfers at shows?
Yes. Another big reason people go at shows, that's one, like bring your cards to have it vaulted. They are there and they have their security stuff set up.
At National.
And grading as well. Like, you can wait in line and get cards graded at the National. Because like, people don't want to send cards to the mail that they want to get graded. They usually do it in person at the shows, but the lines are insane. The lines were insane when I went in 2018, 2019. I can't even imagine how long the lines at PSA and BGS would be at a show today.
It would be lines out. It would be like the what's that burger shop in California that always has those ridiculously long lines? It would be like the In-N-Out burger line. Just miles. I can't even imagine how many people are going to be trying to get their cards graded at National. Do you agree?
I would not go there with the expectation of grading cards. There's no way. There's no way. It's fucking insane. The line. I waited in line for an hour to get a card graded through BGS at National, and I felt like it was just a massive waste of my time. Like, I'm here for 3 days, and I spent 1 hour of that time standing in line. It's like, this sucks. I'm here to like network and meet people and have fun and look at other people's cards. I'm not here to freaking stand in line to Disneyland.
That's I know. No, I have very, very realistic expectations about getting anything graded at the show this year. Those lines are gonna be absurd. Christina, what's your take on this? What do you like to do when you go to a card show? We used to go to tons of shows, especially smaller shows back in Southern California before COVID. Like, what do you like to do when you go to a card show?
I like to talk to the dealers.
Yeah.
I like to. So my big thing about card shows is that I really enjoy talking to the people who are there and taking photos of what's happening.
Yeah.
And then documenting it. But I find it interesting, and it's totally like the anthropological like study of cards in like this thesis that I will one day write for my graduate studies. I swear to God. But like sports cards culture. But I really enjoy talking to hobbyists, collectors.
Yeah.
And the people you see at shows are that. You're not seeing, previously you weren't seeing investors at shows because they didn't know about them.
Yep.
So it's really a cultural like immersion that you have to do at least once, whether it be a local show or like you drive a couple states over just to go to a show one weekend. Like I really recommend it.
Let me tell you something. The attendees of future shows, attendees, is going to be a totally different ball game. And like I just judged by the name Grail Card Quest, I don't think that he maybe fits the depiction of somebody who has like 100 John Morant Prison Base PSA 10s and is looking to make plays. But that type of participant in the sports card market is like super knowledgeable on shows now, and they are going to be hitting up shit. The show dynamic is going to be different than it was pre-COVID. Just like the hobby itself is different pre-COVID.
I also want to make one correction on Josh's take. He said that the shows aren't romantic, and I would disagree. Because that was always my favorite date days, was going to card shows.
I'll give my take really quickly on shows. When I go to shows, I just like to find little clusters of people who are talking, and just like if they don't mind, I just like to introduce myself and just listen. I've learned so much just listening from people at trade nights and at shows, and Clubhouse has been the same way too. I'll go into rooms, and like if a room is investor dominated, it's just going to be like, hey, are soccer cards next? What do you think about Top Shot? It's just going to be a bunch of that stuff, and it just turns into like a big hype session. I'm dead serious. Like half the rooms become that. But I've been on rooms where like it's just a couple people, it's quiet, it's more of a back and forth. And, I started talking to one guy in there the other night who just started schooling me on the history of Damian Lillard cards. And he used to be a big Nash super collector before that. And I was just learning. I was like, dude, this is the first time in like over a year that I felt like I'm just learning from another collector, like how it used to be at trade nights and at shows. So like, that's how I like to do shows. I never intend to buy or sell anything at a show. I often don't bring anything. I just go, and I just like to try and like hear what people are talking about, soak up some of their energy and some of their wisdom.
Yeah, I think the romantic comment was like, people think they're going to go and find green PMGs of their favorite players, and it's like, no, you're not doing that.
Indeed. All right. This question comes in from Lingua Sports Cards. He says, I think Michael Jordan exquisite cards are great but overrated because they all came out after Jordan retired. In general, what do you feel about cards that are produced after a player has retired? Does it make a difference to you whether the player was active at the time of the product's release? By the way, great show. So what do you say to this one, Josh?
It definitely matters to me. I want guys active. I will add, though, that Michael Jordan Exquisite is kind of the exception for me. Just because it's like Exquisite to me is the best, and Michael Jordan is the best. So it's like, man, how can I turn down this great? It's like a collab on two things you've always wanted to see together, and it's like, I just can't look away from this. I have to look at it. I understand I know you're not a fan of it as much as I am, but I'm just too interested in it. In that collab, it's just too awesome for me. But other than that, like that's pretty much the only exception I will make. I don't like, Barkley sticker autos and Panini products. I don't like. I can't really think of many other examples, but like I guess all just like the retired players that are in Panini products today, I'm just not a fan of that.
Totally. MJ does not have the equivalent of exquisite cards produced during his playing season, with the exception of like the game jersey auto
Sure.
cards, which are like extremely limited. Like I think 98, 99, which like some would say is not his playing years. Technically, he didn't play during those years, but those cards do document the 97, 98 season. So like there's some debate there. But like there's 6 of the game jersey cards numbered to 23. And then there's like the game jersey patch card from 97, 98, and then the all-star game jersey card from 97, 98. Like that's like it. Is there, as far as like, maybe there's like a few more because like, I don't really follow this market that closely, but I know it's very limited. Michael Jordan playing years jersey autograph cards, super limited. There was no equivalent during his era of that type of card. And then Exquisite comes along very shortly after his retirement from the Wizards. And like, so there's some temporal proximity there. And also just like, I think like if we're looking for a reason like why we could maybe make an excuse and include Exquisite as like a really important part of the MJ canon, even though it is post-retirement, it's because MJ just didn't have an equivalent to that, during his playing years.
And he had an exclusive with Upper Deck, and I think I might be speaking out, but I think he has like ownership stake in Upper Deck. So to have him like be the main driver of Exquisite and like him being sort of like featured on the product, him and LeBron, it's just fascinating to me. Like you just like again, it's just like something you can't recreate. It was just a very small window of time. There's not a ton of that stuff. Like I know that you're saying it's very limited on playing days jersey autos, but like even the Exquisite stuff, a lot of it's numbered to 23 and 50. Like there's just not a lot of it to go around anyways. So like
totally. Dude, no, Exquisite is incredibly limited. MJ patch auto cards, they're in the famous words of Brent's from PWCC, there's just not enough to go around. So so MJ Exquisite, that's really ironic too. Like MJ Exquisite is the exception because I do generally feel so. Like we have like 2 categories. We draw 2 boundaries around cards. Like the first one is rookie year. Rookie year, that's the manufacturer's one shot to print, and then for collectors to figure out how many cards of a player were made. And once the rookie year's over, it's done. It's limited. It's limited permanently forever. There will never be another rookie year. Nobody can ever make any more rookie year cards after the rookie season is passed. So
unless it's soccer, then you get like 6 of them.
right. Or we make weird exceptions sometimes to be sure. And also, the other restraint that we put on things is we say that playing years. Once playing years are over, then playing years are done. You can't make any more playing years cards. Card manufacturers, they can keep printing cards of player for all time if they wanted to, hypothetically. But when if we draw the line at playing years, then then once again we create a finite number of cards that are available to be collected, similar to rookie year. Now, are both of those arbitrary boundaries? Yes, they are. These are artifices. We have created these in our minds and decided that these boundaries matter, but they do matter. They are important, and I think it is useful to limit the scope of what's available to be collected, so that we don't just end up chasing an infinite number of products and cards. And that puts a little bit of pressure on manufacturers as well to do a good job while they have the opportunity, and then to make sure they innovate and they bring new good collectible products, and they don't just ride off of the name of big name players. Because man, if the companies could just make LeBron, Jordan, and Kobe cards in perpetuity forever and just make products that have nothing but those cards in them, I mean, they would do that. But there's lots of restraints that we place as collectors on stuff so that we limit the scope of what we collect. So, all right, let me move on to the next question here. This comes from Dormant Stash. Dormant Stash says, I'm looking for recommendations on how I can protect my slabs from any type of unforeseen hazard. I was considering purchasing a home safe to store them, but was wondering if there are better options I should be considering. So what do you think about this one, man?
Safe is good. A box is good. Slab guards are good. Bags or whatever, like slab sleeves. I'm not sure the term for those. Whatever. Those are all good.
Definitely. So safe, definitely a good way to go. Another option that some people avail themselves of, safety deposit box. Christina and I have definitely availed ourselves of that option before.
PWCC Vault.
PWCC Vault is another option as well. But a home safe definitely does a trick. Also, combine that with collector's insurance. And a company that I use is called Collect Insure. Knock on wood, never had to file a claim, so I can't speak to how that process works. But I've heard good things, and also I think their policy is pretty reasonable. So just make sure you read the fine print, because sometimes those policies require a safe of a certain size. If you're going to use the safe to like discount the price of your policy. So ask your representative about that or whatever, but definitely you combine a safe with a collector's insurance policy. I think you've taken some prudent steps there. Soda Cards 86 says, please discuss shipping sports cards, the delays in shipping, cards getting lost or stolen in the mail. What do you have to say about this topic?
Well, Collect Insure does have shipping insurance, which is good. The only requirement they have is that you get adult signature on your shipment. That's important to note. If the card is over, I'm just going to pick an arbitrary number because it's different for everybody. If the card is over $5,000 for me, I do overnight FedEx, no questions asked. I know the woman at FedEx would just, take it for whatever joke you want to make about that. And she knows exactly how I like it packaged. She knows like I need overnight, I need adult signature. I'm declaring zero value because I already have the insurance on my insurance policy. So it's a level of comfort for me that FedEx. I've never even had the slightest of hiccups with FedEx. Anything under that, I usually do 2-day small flat rate box with USPS. I've never had a problem with that either. And I double bubble mailer, small flat rate box. I feel like the box just helps protect it against more. I don't know. I just feel like the box is just easier to transport, less likely to be lost as a bubble mailer, kind of getting flung around and shit. Maybe I'm just making that up. Maybe it's true because I've never had any issues. Those two things, I do nothing else. No, those are the only two options I have.
Great advice. Great advice there. All right, let me see if we can squeeze for a few more questions in.
Do you say it's a sports card, though?
Huh?
Someone asked if when you're shipping it, do you say that it's a sports card?
Do you declare that it's a sports card? No.
No, I say it's a gift and I say it's worth nothing.
Yep. That's that, and some of the reasoning behind doing it that way is that that prevents employees, God forbid, at one of the shipping companies from having insight into what's inside and potentially targeting it, and or people who might be monitoring contents of different packages. If you're already insured through a third-party collector's insurance entity, then you're already insured. So you don't need to worry about insuring or declaring the contents. But definitely talk to your representative at your collector's insurance company to see if they have any advice on what you might want to, if you want to declare the contents of packages that you're shipping. All right. Altamira Vincent says, is it still worth grading stuff with PSA at the moment, considering the massive waiting times, or is it better to just wait until stuff gets sorted out with the sale of Collector's Universe?
I'm not sure how waiting would help. You're still in the back of the line.
Yeah.
I think what he's saying is maybe once Collector's Universe gets, right. Okay. So no, I just realized the point that you two are making. Whether you send it in now or 6 months from now, you're still at the back of the line. So
why wouldn't you be at the back of the line now instead of 6 months from now? You're 6 months more behind the line.
Well, maybe the thinking is if you send in now, you might not get it back for a year. But if PSA, ramps up their output by 10x, then let's say you keep your cards in your possession for 6 months and then you send them in. Then you had them in your possession for 6 months. You could sell them raw, whatever. Sure. So,
yeah, I'm just gonna tell you right now, like, Nat and the new buyers are not going to figure out the backlog in like a month. It's going to take a lot.
Right. Right. Yes. And every new grading company like gets swamped. Like HGA, they do
They're
the
already
like
fucked.
they're already they're like, we're gonna let 2,000 cards get graded, and that submission drop or whatever like the window to submit, it fills in like 5 minutes.
It's so funny, dude. Like people are like, dude, this is going to be different. These guys, no, they're going to get fucking slammed, and they're going to be just in the same boat as everybody else, and they're going to be scrambling to figure out how to tell people their weird rules of why they can't grade fast. It's the same every time.
Yep. Indeed.
I had one other thing. Hold on.
Yeah.
Grading. Oh, I've been doing the like higher dollar value grades, and I've been getting it. I mean, I haven't been getting them back fast, but I've been getting them back in less than like a year or so. Like the $75 service at PSA or the $200 service, those have been pretty consistent for me.
There you go. Okay.
I'm not grading any bulk anymore. Just FYI.
I also
I'm not
want to
worried.
say that the chat is like on fire tonight with these. What do you put in your form? Like declaring what the package is. I just want to give a shout out to all of you guys who are making me laugh back here.
The chat is...
What are some of the gems? What are some gems I wasn't watching?
Levgo says that you should declare human faces. Nine is Mint says that they just say it's not drugs.
Oh, that's it. They're just telling you one category it's not. Just don't look in here. Definitely not drugs, not contraband.
And then the one that people are agreeing is like a good one to go forward with is old photos.
Old photos. Yeah, that's
not true. Technically that's not funny. Yeah. So yeah.
That's true. Yeah, just say it's a gift. Just say it's a gift. Just trust me on that. Just it's a gift. They're like, oh, okay, it's personal. Just don't ask questions. Yep. It's a fucking dildo. What do you want?
It's a gift. 13 Publius 13 would like to know, is hourly or fixed fee the most proper arrangement with a sports card investment advisor? I don't know if there's a joke I'm missing or if that's a serious question. I don't know what that means.
I like my lawyers hourly.
There you go. Josh Brar writes in, better cards with lower grade or a less valuable card with a higher grade? For example, James Harden Topps Gold versus Topps.
That's a good question, actually. Yeah. I'm really glad it wasn't, should I buy PSA 9s?
You thought that was coming, though, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I immediately started walking away and rolling my eyes. Obviously, the shitty answer is it depends, but I'm going to say the lower grade, more rare card.
There you go. I totally agree.
The grading is subjective. The rarity of the card is not.
Ooh, I like that. Also, pop reports can change. Serial numbers can't. How about that one?
Yep.
That's a bumper sticker. And,
I like to buy things that I can control, not out of my control.
Definitely. And, at the end of the day, man, I'll take a beautiful card over a label that says 10 on it, for sure. And the rare stuff definitely is more beautiful to me usually. So
I will add, though, that when I go into a new space that I feel is cheap and I want to buy a lot of stuff and I want to have fun with it and figure out what I just want all gems. I don't know what it is. And maybe it's just because relative to Lebron exquisite stuff, I'm just God, all this stuff is free. They're just giving away these cards. They just get all PSA 10s. It's fucking free. It's not $100,000. It's amazing. So I just am maximizing my dollar by getting all gems. That's out of my character a little bit, but I feel if I'm able to get rare and gems, I'm this is a win-win.
Sure. Okay, we've been going now for 64 minutes. Yeah, so how about we take a break? How long should we break for before we come back for hour 2?
How long does it take me to go to the bathroom?
That can depend. Let's take 2 minutes. 4 minutes? Christina?
I don't know what kind of bathroom he's going.
Or how far it is. All right, we'll be back in somewhere between. We'll be back we'll be back between 2 and 4 minutes, guys, for hour 2 and potentially hour 3. See you in a few minutes. Welcome back, hour 2. Welcome back. Ooh, the fresh shave.
Check it out. Haircut.
Damn. He goes on the news one time in New York, and all of a sudden now.
That was a total coincidence. I got the haircut because it was ridiculous. Even the barber was like, "What the hell's wrong with you? Have you ever gotten a haircut before?" And then the next day, I go on the news. Total coincidence.
Man, sometimes the world just works in mysterious ways. What's up, everybody in the chat? Thought that was a pretty good hour 1, if I may say so myself. Let's see. As people fill in here. It's too early for that question. Lameme James wants to know, should he triple down on LaMelo Ball Hoops rookie cards?
I think their prices have gone down quite a bit.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to show that. That's actually why I was showing that card. Christina and I pulled one from a Hoops box, but I wanted to actually because this is educational, because you know what? You said it on this week's Sports Cards Culture. Nobody talks about cards when they're going down. So we have a big selection box. All right, look at this. All right. This is what it looks like after the first NBA product has been out for 2 weeks. From $170 average daily sale price to $41.66. Yeah. So this isn't new. This happened to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It just happens over and over. It happens over and over, man.
Yeah, the best time to buy a product, though, is like 2 months after it comes out. You just buy it. I mean, if it's a good player and it's the right set and all that crap. But like, if you believe in the set and the player, wait 2 months for it to settle and crash in price, and then start buying it up.
Is it that people don't know that the price is going down, or do people not care? All you had to do was wait 2 weeks for the card to go from 180 to 40, and that's not unusual.
Why do people pay 4x the all-time high from a month prior? FOMO, man. People think stuff like when you're in that mode, and dude, I know the feeling. It happens to me as well. When you're in that mode of like, oh my God, everything's going up. I want to be a part of this, or I feel like it's going to keep going up. There's just too much momentum. You just get that feeling that you have to get in. You're like, I know this is going to go down eventually. I've seen it a million times, but this one just feels different. I don't see anything that's ever going to happen where this is going to go down. And then, a month later it goes down. And then at that point, when it's going down, that's when everyone starts chasing it down. Like, I told you, sell, hurry. And then undercutting happens. It's just like this crazy FOMO in reverse. It's kind of interesting to watch.
Yeah. I have heard people say that if you're buying to grade, it's better to buy right away than wait. But I think you can wait a month or two because there's still plenty of new product being ripped that hasn't, and like new singles fresh out of packs that like have not been graded yet.
Yep. And we've heard it on here. People are afraid to send their cards in because it's going to take forever.
Yeah.
So, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Dude, why do one little stupid bit about Pokemon McDonald's cards and you guys are just giving me all this shit about it?
Christina and I bought some Pokemon McDonald's cards, didn't we?
Yeah.
Are you guys rich now?
Well, yeah, we're rich. We saw your segment. I'm pretty sure you advised everybody to go out and buy those. I think that was verbatim what you said. So what are we supposed to do? We went out and bought 2, and now we're rich.
I told you this earlier already, but like they took one of the things I said way out of context, where I had said something about like the 25th anniversary for Pokemon, and they took that as like, guys, it's the 25th anniversary. This is good. Like, go buy this shit.
It's
and
like
I was saying,
Charizard going into the Hall of Fame or something.
I think I had said something like, just because it's the 25th anniversary doesn't mean you should go out and buy it. Something like that. And they just totally like twisted it.
Sounds about right. But it was a great segment. I thought it was well done. Right. It was good. It's good.
I went to McDonald's and all I got was diabetes.
That's the long-term truth of it.
I think even if you got the Pokemon cards, you'd still end up with diabetes.
Yeah, right. No, that's indeed. Let's see here. Oh, I want to ask this question, but I have to save it. You're not ready for this question.
I'm ready.
No, you're really not. Plus, I was instructed to wait to ask you this until hour 3.
Oh, God.
So, all right. Lamim James also wants to know, should I empty my 401k to invest in Spida Mitchell cards?
You're trying to get me in trouble again tonight, man. You're really trying.
Yes, he is.
Donovan Mitchell is a great young talent.
Yep.
Let's see. Let's.
I just wanted to give that one a shout out, dude, because me and Lamim had been talking about that topic for a day or two.
Donovan Mitchell is undervalued. Is that what you want me to say?
Yes, to the moon with Donovan Mitchell.
He's a very good player. I will reserve judgment until I see it in the playoffs for like the 4th year in a row.
There you go. All right.
This reminds me of the Hawks from 4 years ago. I want to throw that little bit in. Don't freak out, but I think the Jazz are bad or something. This reminds me of the Hawks when they went like 60-22. Everyone got all excited, and then the playoffs came around, and it was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Like, they don't have Kawhi or LeBron or Giannis or
True.
Durant.
CRH1A5 says the only undervalued player is Dame. Is that you, Chrissy Buckets, under your other account? He says, just look at Chuck's rookie card. You know what was funny? On Bill Simmons' podcast on Tuesday, he had Charles Barkley on. He asked Charles Barkley, what do you think your Fleer PSA 10 rookie card is worth? And he thought he was gonna blow Charles' mind. He thought he was gonna just blow his mind and tell him some high number. But Charles goes, I don't know, 50,000.
He's like, shit, no.
And Bill was he's like, no, it's 20,000, but that's really high. Like, it's gone up
Charles
a lot.
He's like, I saw the sale for Jordan. How's Jordan 700 and I'm only 20 or whatever?
It's like, well, how long do you have, Charles? How long do you have? Because we're gonna have to explain some things to you.
Well, Charles is, undervalued. That's what it is.
There you go. That's all this is. Nobody's ever overvalued. Everybody is just undervalued until they get their turn. Yeah. Right?
And then when those guys finally go up, then it's the guy who is above. Then he's undervalued.
Exactly. Right. It's just everything's just undervalued. One thing goes up, everything else is undervalued. Then all those things go up, then the original thing's undervalued. Just never ends.
The best is when you showed me this one, but someone will say something's undervalued, and then it'll just triple in value, and then you'll be like, "What do you think now?" And they'll be like, well, this one of that guy is still undervalued, I think. Dude, you got your way, and you're still saying it's undervalued.
Yes, there's some depth to that. Adam says, what's the next stage of media article that we will actually enjoy? The evolution of quote, sports card prices are going crazy.
Just all this like everything's going to the moon forever talk is just I just like it's getting so ridiculous. I can't even have a straight face anymore.
No, it's hard. It's hard.
My advisor told me this is a great time to buy. Now I know that was so good job,
Yeah,
13.
thank you.
Yep, good
Thank
job.
you, 13, for clarifying
Your tone.
our one
Yep,
question was about.
thank you. I feel better now. I'm glad that he or she is in that tone. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. I did something else on Clubhouse this week.
Just tell us about spend the next hour talking about your clubhouse.
Yeah, can we just have Chris's Chronicles from Clubhouse?
No, please.
So I went into a chat at 1 a.m. that was hosted by Buster Schur. Yamwax made me think about this. And it was about digital art collecting. Digital. And they had a guy come on. There was over 1,000 people in this room. They had a guy come on named Mad Dog Mike or something like that. I'm probably saying his name wrong.
Sounds like a local sports radio host, DJ.
No, I must have said it wrong. Damn, I'm an idiot. But the guy's like a big deal. The guy's a big deal in the digital art world. And I just totally butchered that name, but I can't think of what it is. He did a drop of 7 one-of-one art pieces yesterday, or 2 days ago now. He sold them for $4 million. 4 digital art pieces sold for $7 million. And in the chat it was very celebratory, and there was the former CEO of T-Mobile and Microsoft, high-ranking Microsoft and Google employees. It was like a Twitter blue check mark, heaven. Just all the important tech people all gathered in this one room. And I was like, whoa, like all these people are really into digital art and they have their lane. And, here's an artist I never even heard of, and they're spending a lot of money on this artist's work. It made me think about, how lucky it made me think about how lucky we are to have access to our artists as well, even though the athletes are the star of the show. Arena Design and Carbon Chung, among others, we can go read their thoughts. These are people who created stuff like the Precious Metal Gems and Exquisite. We can read about them on Instagram. That's amazing. Secondly, made me think about how digital artists are making a lot of money off of their digital art. Maybe we should think about ways that we could do something small but meaningful for our artists in the hobby. And then third, it made me think the hobby's undervalued, baby, because they're spending $4 million on digital art 101. Yeah, Mad Dog Jones. Mad Dog Jones. Okay, so I didn't mess it up too bad.
Someone in the chat said that.
Okay, thank you. So people know about this. I was blown away. I felt really weird after listening to this chat. Like I didn't know what to think or what I had just witnessed, but I don't know, man. There's stuff going on in this world that must be as equally mind-boggling to me as people looking at sports cars as what we do is to them.
Yeah. To the moon, baby. To the moon. Yeah, I mean, at this point, like I've seen enough stuff where people are spending insane amounts of money that I don't understand, that I'm just like, you know what? People have a lot of money and they want to buy what makes them feel good. And sometimes people feel good just in the purchase alone, not even what they're buying. They're like, I just feel good that I spent money. And I just love that I bought this thing that people are going to talk about, and I'm going to be praised for it. And so, to each his own, I guess.
Rodman says I need to set up onlyfans.com/RodmanPC to be able to keep up in this market. You don't want to do that, man.
I still think we're in the early innings of the sports card thing, though.
We're definitely in the second inning. One thing that was interesting, Mad Dog Jones was saying that anytime he referred to people who bought his art, he specifically called them collectors. even though they are definitely collector investors. Nobody is spending $4 million on digital one-of-one art that I could go look at in the exact same pixels and resolution right now. Nobody is spending that money on digital art without the intention that it at least maintains its value, if not goes up. But he still called them collectors. He called them collectors. He talked about things he would do to benefit his collectors. He would sometimes give away limited art pieces to his collectors for ways to increase the value of their collections. Like he does all different types of schemes and stuff to like help increase the value of his collectors' collections. And I just like was really paying attention to the words they were using. Never was the word investor used. They only used the word collector.
Those guys, that's because those guys are smarter than we are. They've figured out that, like, if you want to keep people, you got to start using terms properly.
Yeah, and there's, a topic comes up from time to time. What's the difference between a collector and a flipper and an investor? Nothing. There isn't any. It's just there's a mindset, perhaps. There's a prestige that attaches to one word that might not attach to another. But the distinction can often be meaningless. Because at the end of the day, we're all buying and selling cards. But if you adopt the point of view and the persona of a collector, there's something a little bit higher to that. If you're a collector, you're somebody with taste. You're somebody with knowledge. History. You understand the items that you're curating. Yeah, you buy and you sell them, but so what? So, yeah, not to take that point too far, but
our chat is just like crushing it with these innings thing. Like, we're only halfway through the national anthem, you noobs.
We're still in the pregame warm-ups right now, I guess.
Here's why the inning thing is funny. I'll distill it down to one simple thing, and this is why it's funny. It's because, and Lefko pointed out, each new person that comes in says that it's the second inning, and it's like, what about the previous? I thought we were in the second inning 6 months ago when Gary said we were in the second inning. So since Timberland's in, we're still in the second inning. So Gary to Timberland has moved us 0 innings. How's that possible?
Maybe we were in the top of the second inning. Now we're in the bottom half of the second.
Or
that implies that
the top, but it's second out. Like we've only moved 1 out since Gary said that.
That's just like that implies that like Jeff Bezos is going to be in here at the end of this, and like Jeff Bezos is going to proclaim that sports cards are the best investment of all time, and he's putting half of his money into it. That's the only way we get to the peak.
And even then, we're only in the 7th inning stretch.
Oh my God! What's after that? Like,
then we go into extra innings.
Aliens are here, and they have money that we didn't know about, and they're buying sports cards.
We gotta also think, like, is it just one game, or are we in a series?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, no, I know. That's what people have said. You say, what do you mean we're in this inning or whatever? So when are we in the 9th inning? How will we know? Well, we might get to the 9th inning, but we might go to extra innings, or then we just start a whole new game, and then we're in the second game of a 162 game season. Oh, how many seasons are there? Just the metaphor never made a ton of sense. But the one thing I like about the metaphor, and to pay a compliment to hobbyists that digital art collectors didn't seem too keen on thinking about, hobbyists are they're more conservative financially. They are always thinking about the risk. So when people ask a question such as, like, what inning are we in? They're kind of saying, I have a mind towards the potential that this game might end one day. So there is something admirable in that. There's something refreshingly pessimistic about people who, think about this thing as, being a game that can end.
Jokes on everybody. It's not baseball. It's cricket. Those games last days. Can't we say we're like in the second quarter? Like, I'm a simple guy. 4 is a little bit easier to break down than 9. Just out there.
Yeah, to me, the metaphor never made sense because I'm more like those digital art people. I don't see this as a game. I don't see it as having a termination point.
Do you feel like those guys are more mature than we are as a market? I hate that word, but no.
No, definitely not. I felt like they all were very excited and they had a great energy to them. and they were happy to be doing what they were doing. And there definitely are nuances and subtleties that I didn't understand about how their market works and how, you know, they were talking about giveaways and drops and how that whole market works. There's stuff I didn't get, but the energy in the room, there's just a different energy in the room when you have a hobbyist in the room who's been collecting cards for 40 years. It didn't feel like there was anybody in that room who had been collecting digital art for 40 years, probably because it hasn't existed for that long. But you know what I mean? Like there wasn't that nobody had that seasoned veteran demeanor about them.
I think people say these phrases because they, like, one of the best feelings you can get from a hobby or a collectible is to know that you were in on it early, right? And you were like at the ground floor and you saw it before anyone else and you were right about it. Because it's like finding the cool artist in music before they blow up. Oh, I listened to that guy way before like anyone knew about Drake. Like Drake, I knew about Drake way before any of you guys. That just brings you like a level of prestige. So you can make that reality by saying we're in the second inning, and then you just leave that up to everyone else that's in the market to decide. Like, oh, does that mean that we are? Like maybe he's right. This guy's definitely, you know, ahead of the curve here. I should listen to them, and it just kind of gives you that level of prestige.
Yeah, right on. I agree. Definitely agree with that. Pork Chop Sports Cards just wanted to ask, did you guys see the Howard Stern interview about sports cards? I did, because Card Talk Podcast posted it to their Instagram page. You can see the clip there. Basically, Howard Stern is expressing skepticism about expressing skepticism about cards, because there's like one of the hosts is like, yeah, I've spent $700 in baseball cards, and Howard Stern's like, why are you don't have $700 to blow? You should have put that money into a mutual fund. And I love this clip, and I shared it to my story, and I should have like explained why I loved it, because people are going to be like, oh, Chris, why are you sharing this? Don't you understand this is very pessimistic about the hobby? That's why I love it. Man, can we just hear from the voice of somebody who is skeptical of the hobby so we can get a little bit of balance into it? You know, like it was great to hear Howard Stern not know a damn thing about the hobby. She's like, you paid how much for a baseball box? Oh, you online breaks? What the hell is this? You're out of your mind. You need to save your money. It was just nice to hear it. It's been so long since I heard somebody talk like that.
It's kind of nice. I mean, there's so much hype and stuff. I'm like, maybe I should put some money into like a mutual fund. Nah. No, you crazy guys.
No. Yeah. So yeah, we did see it. Or I've seen it. And if anybody wants to talk about that in the chat, go ahead and feel free. The chat is moving at a rapid pace right now.
I'm barely listening to what you're saying. I'm just reading the chat.
I know the chat is going off.
You're talking about digital art and Top Shot or something. I'm not even. You lost me at second inning. I'm in the third inning.
You said Top Shot. Geach Quest sent a message to the first hour that was really good, but we didn't have time to get to it. But I'm thinking of it now. He said Goldin is predicting that he'll do $200 million in revenues in 2021, and Top Shot has, I think he said it's already done $100 million, or it's projected. No, it couldn't have been already. Maybe it was. He said Top Shot has already done $100 million in 2021, which is going to do more, Top Shot or Goldin, or maybe Top Shot versus the hobby. But again, though, you know, I think it's prudent to distinguish Top Shot from sports cards, because these are not the same thing.
Plus, like, I thought that the money wasn't even real and you're just moving shit around.
That's an issue too. They really only money has been able to come in, not able to come out. So that's definitely an issue with Top Shot as it currently stands.
Someone posted a screenshot of they put in a request to withdraw, and it said, like, we're working on it. It'll be soon or something.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's the thing too, though, man. They just, you know, Top Shot and sports cards are different things. Like Adam said, Adam McNamee. Sorry if I said your last name wrong, man. He said, because I was on Clubhouse talking to him earlier today, and he said, "Dude, Top Shot is just crypto in a sleeve." Yes, that is a nice way to talk about that. Is that it's a cryptocurrency at its core. It's categorized as a cryptocurrency. It's compared against other cryptos. It's a crypto trading platform. It's a cryptocurrency. It's something different. Adam McNaney. All right, man. If I
He already forgives you.
Thank you, dude. So Top Shot comes up a lot on Clubhouse. Unsurprisingly, perhaps one of the founders of Clubhouse is also a developer of Top Shot, I believe. But nonetheless, yeah.
I must have missed this gathering of like all these crazy new apps popping up where seemingly there's no value actually being moved around. It's just people talking and making digital things.
Yeah, I guess so.
Says the guy with the digital small business.
This is the guy with his own tech startup.
What do I know? Just a guy with a tech startup. I guess that's the new fad.
Yes.
I'm happy to jump on board.
That's what we do, right? We get beaten down and then we join. We cave.
We're in the second inning of sports card startups.
That would make sense. Yes.
Because you still got big companies coming in soon. I keep hearing about it, so I'm waiting.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It sounds like they're more interested in digital art, one-of-ones and stuff like that. So, and that's another thing I thought about too, was for those waiting maybe for Google, Microsoft, whoever to come into sports cards, like, I just heard from some high-ranking employees who work there, and they sound a lot more excited about digital art and digital artists than I think they would ever be about sports or sports-related memorabilia or sports cards or anything sports-related.
Well, they're missing out.
Yeah, that's okay. I think we have enough people. I think we'll be fine.
Timberland and I will hold down the fort.
Yeah.
Wait, Timberland is pretty good. Is a pretty strong connection to Justin Timberlake. Am I right on that? Those two guys make a lot of music together.
You're very right on that.
I'm a couple steps closer to meeting Justin Timberlake today.
Oh, big time. Big time.
Josh, you're not allowed to meet him without me.
My immediate goal is no longer to make Card Ladder successful. It's to meet LeBron and Justin Timberlake. It's shifted. My life has changed.
I think those two things go hand in hand. That's what I think.
I would love to meet them together. That's my ultimate. The three of us, just like,
Timbaland produced Cry Me a River for Justin Timberlake. Oh, Chrissy Buck has just pointed that out as well. So
I almost started singing it. You guys are lucky I did not. Would have been really bad.
Ali, thank you, bro.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yep, that's the one. So hour 2, Christina's singing.
That's not singing good.
No, I really want to belt it out, but I just can't.
All right, might as well just get to the question now. Black Griffin Card says this. Does Josh think Justin Timberlake is better at acting or singing? This is what I need to know. Wait until hour 3 to ask him, though.
That's the toughest question of the night. Nothing will ever get tougher than this.
I know.
He's a triple threat. He doesn't need to be better at one or the other.
Like saying, is LeBron a better passer or scorer? It's like, come on. He's like clearly a good passer, but he's going to lead the NBA all time in scoring. So it's like, it's tough. That's what I'll equate it to. His acting is like LeBron's. Oh, God. I'm going to fuck this up.
No, do it.
Timberlake's singing is like LeBron's passing. That's what made him his money early on. It's his bread and butter. But don't forget about that acting and that scoring because he's the best.
I like that. I think that
I'm going to say acting. I'm going to say acting because that's the undervalued answer.
It is. His acting is undervalued. I agree. Alpha Dog is a great movie.
I'm going to say singing because that's how I was first introduced to him.
Nostalgia. That's your collector answer.
Yeah, right. There you go. The investor answer is acting because it's undervalued. The collector answer is singing because that's the roots of this whole thing.
He's in the second inning of acting, and he's in the eighth inning of singing. Dude, he could be. He's got the talent. Wait, what's the triple threat? What's the third?
Dancing.
Is he a good dancer?
Yeah, he's a really good dancer.
Of course he is. God damn it, he's probably good at everything. He's probably a good cook too, asshole.
Probably a good collector.
He's probably a fucking developer too. He's probably like, oh, React Native, you idiot! I would have done this. And like, what the hell?
That's good. Adam Lefko says people don't like Justin Timberlake because he acts. People like Justin Timberlake because he sings and acts.
Forgot dancing.
And you forgot dancing. Says
Can someone just tell me I'm not crazy, that he's really good at everything?
He is. He's good at basketball too, right? Is he pretty good at basketball?
God damn it.
I think he is. He's played in some of those celebrity games and stuff. I wonder if Lefko has ever played in the celebrity game. I wonder if Lefko can ball.
We joked about this last week, but in that Britney Spears documentary, I was like, you take that back, Britney. You don't spoil that man's name. What are you doing? And of course, he was better at that too. He already was ahead of it and apologized to her. I'm like, God, dude, you're just
flawless.
JT can't act for shit. How do you boot people from here? Can you do that?
Banned. Sorry.
Alamo Card Collector, you're booted.
Reported, banned, deleted from Instagram.
He's good at adultery.
Alamo gets kicked off card ladder tonight.
He's good at assaulting chicks. All right. You better change topics before I start gushing about LeBron here in the next couple seconds. You better hurry.
All right. What else do we have?
Oh, I thought of another funny thing that people say a lot recently.
Yes.
This is my new favorite one that I always comment now because it's my fad. People always are someone will post about a card. They're like, "What's the value of this? Should I hold on to it? Should I grade it? Should I sell it? What do you guys think?" And the first comment is always, "Well, they've got the Hall of Fame coming up. They're going to break a scoring record soon. They're going to make a documentary. Space Jam 2's coming out. You might want to consider that." They just rattle off these things that are going to make the card more valuable, and every time I just laugh. So every time someone posts about a Kobe card, I'm like, Hall of Fame, documentary, going to the moon. Don't even bother selling.
That's so funny. All right, so for those who might follow the Card Letter Instagram account, we've been posting some crazy all-time highs lately, like a Ricky Henderson PSA 10 going for $180,000.
Pop 2, right?
Well, yeah, Pop 24.
Yeah.
Pop 24. And whenever people, especially vintage, maybe we'll post a Phil Jackson or this Ricky Henderson or whatever, without fail, doesn't matter what the all-time high is, if the card tripled, if it went up $100,000 in the last month, every time there's at least one comment that says, this card is so undervalued, what a steal, or this card is going up huge this year. Now we've moved on from finally getting its due. That's not even a thing anymore. Nobody is settling for oh, this card finally got its due.
I'm okay, dude. I'm okay. I hate that phrase so much. That's my least favorite of all of them. I don't care what. I'd rather you talk about baseball innings for the rest of the time. I don't want to hear finally getting its due. For some reason, that one just really rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, no, I hear you. All I'm saying is that one means okay, we can settle for a little while. No, there's no settling anymore. This card just tripled. That means it's 9xing now. That's
a triple happens in any of the 9 innings. We don't know what inning it was.
No, we don't. That's
also, does innings imply that the game is going to keep getting better, or that it's going to just keep going? That doesn't actually make any sense. The score might just stay 0-0. We don't know.
We haven't even talked about the score, right? We talk about what inning we're in. We don't talk about what score is.
And at the end of the 9th inning, does that mean we all die? Cards are burned? It's Fahrenheit What is that book where they just like, okay, cards are done?
No, that's a good question. It's a very good question. That's next time somebody wants to know what inning we're in, I'm going to ask, well, what's the score? That's how you turn it back around on the person asking the question.
And who's playing?
Ooh, who is playing? Who's home?
I feel like the collectors are the home team and the investors are the away team, and they are trying to beat us.
They're running up the score right now with Kobe's star date.
They are running up the score. We gotta get them back with this Goldin auction to have some rare cards win this one out.
Yeah. Are we gonna find out that like the Houston Astros are banging on things and stealing signals?
Yeah, it could be. Schilling is stealing signals.
Could be.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Facebook is the shitty fan yelling at everyone from the stands. Facebook is the heckler.
Facebook is definitely getting thrown out of the game by any.
Or it's the streaker. Facebook is the streaker or the heckler. Like everyone is on it and they want to see it and they like talk about it, but everyone's like, "This is so stupid."
Facebook is the streaker. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Facebook is a streaker because nobody will show it. None of the news, none of the networks covering the game, they will not show it. And that's kind of like us. Like we will not show Facebook. We will not subject people to that. What's up, Ken Goldin in the chat?
Ken Goldin in the chat. What's up, Ken?
Ken,
we reacted to your big sale, Ken, in the hour one, so good news all around, man.
Yeah, we send big congrats to you guys and the team. So did the rest of the chat too. Congrats, man.
But now you're in hour two, and this is getting off the rails, Ken. So this is a fun time for us to just chat about cards.
We were discussing what inning we're in the hobby right now, Ken. So if you have any thoughts on the inning that we're in right now, feel free to share.
The consensus seems to be second inning, but we'll leave that up to you.
We'll see. We'll see. The chat has some thoughts. We had some thoughts. We had some other questions too. Lefko said you are a good egg.
Nice.
Who's
the umpire? Ninth inning. Wow, it's almost over.
Yeah.
All right, next question.
Okay. So we had some more things coming in here. Where do I want to go to next? Jack's Cards 888 says, "Do you see Kawhi Leonard cards being the next big run-up?" And let me say something on this before we answer. Kawhi's Prism Silver PSA 10 and his exquisite RPA 9.5.
That National Treasures.
National Treasures RPA 9.5. Thank you. Have both set all-time highs.
50,000
in the last week. All right, so maybe I don't know. The NTRPA all-time high was like twice what it last sold for.
The NTRPA is numbered to 199, and that's right. That card is that's held that set back. Like Anthony Davis and Kawhi RPAs have always gone way cheaper than Curry and LeBron and Kevin Durant, just because a lot of it has to do with just because the card is numbered to 199 and there are twice as many of them. But 50,000. I can't believe I'm saying this, but like Kawhi at 50,000 for a 9.5 RPA with a sick patch versus 600,000 for a Curry RPA, even though there's twice as many. It's kind of undervalued. Like people, I don't know, I'm not sure what it is about that set, but like Kawhi and Anthony Davis RPAs are just way cheaper than anyone else.
So let's talk about that for a second, because we do not say many things are undervalued.
Because like a LeBron Topps Chrome PSA 10 is inching up towards 50,000, and a Kawhi 9.5 RPA with a nice patch.
Yeah, $50K for BGS 9.5. Now the population is 54.
Okay.
So not a crazy high pop, but in light of the fact there's 199 copies, decent gem rate. I don't know what the total pop is, but all right. So we don't say many cards are undervalued, but Kawhi's NTRPA as recently as last November was 15K. Now it's up to 50.
Yeah, it's gone up a lot. But I mean, like, if I'm in the market for buying a really nice RPA, a 9.5 RPA of a top level player, you just don't have that many options anymore. If you have, less than six figures in money, which is most people. Kawhi and Anthony Davis have always stood out to me because, they're cheap. They're quite a bit cheaper than some of these other guys, and like way cheaper than Giannis even. Would you rather have a Kawhi 9.5 RPA or a Giannis BGS 9 weak patch?
That's a great comp.
Kawhi's already won 2 championships with 2 different teams. He was Finals MVP twice. Giannis hasn't even been to the finals. So, and I know that like Kawhi and Anthony Davis don't have as much of a collector market as Giannis and LeBron. They're just like, they're just not as collectible, I guess. It's kind of hard to put your finger on that. Same with Harden, where like they're just not as popular of players. But you can't really argue with Kawhi's accolades.
I agree. You can't. And so I heard on a podcast this week, it was remarked, when was the last time the Milwaukee Bucks, last season, how long did it take the Milwaukee Bucks to lose 13 games? Because right now they've already lost 13 games.
They've lost 5 in a row.
So I'm just saying, they are getting dangerously close to 500, but it's also rosters moved around a little bit and stuff. I'd like to see a bigger sample size before I make any conclusions, but the momentum there has turned around a bit. Sure. Kawhi is just old reliable. I think you could add Kawhi to any team. For all those teams in NBA, like, well, this team's one piece away from being a contender. You could throw Kawhi on that team, they become a contender.
Yeah, Kawhi makes me nervous though long term because he's not going to have the big gaudy stats because he's older already. He's missed a lot of games. He's missed seasons. He rests a lot. He doesn't seem to care at all about statistics or like the flashiness. He really only cares about one thing, and he's not going to have the all-star appearances. I think he's really low in all-star appearances. He's not going to have – he really only has winning. Like if you put his stats and his like PER numbers and his regular season stuff, and I feel like GOATs are made in the regular season plus the playoffs. I just feel like a GOAT isn't just playoffs and he's not just regular season. So like you can't be a GOAT if you're Peyton Manning and you only dominate the regular season. You can't be a GOAT if you're Rajon Rondo and you only dominate the playoffs. You have to do both because people remember consistency plus your peak.
True that. Let me show you briefly. Kawhi is having an excellent statistical year by any metric. He's 9th in points, 27, 6th in rebound, or 6 rebounds, 60th, 36 in assists. So like points, he's up there. The other two like 6 rebounds is not. Maybe that should be higher, but his PER is 4th. 27. So he's having very, very good year by Kawhi, and he's doing it so quietly. He's doing it flying under the radar with it. Let me talk about his Prism Silver really quick as well. This is another card that perhaps we might say is undervalued, which we don't talk about very much here. Now, here's why I'm saying that. So his Prism Silver from his rookie year looks like this. And the most recent comp of this card to come in was February 17th, was this week. And it sold for, there was a best offer accepted. The best offer accepted was $26,250. Now, what's interesting about that is that CardLab's predicted value puts it at 41 grand. And there's no secret to the predicted value. It's just the historical ratio that the card is traded at. It's been somewhere between 9 and 13. If you average the historical ratios, it's about 11.4. So, if you apply the 11.4 ratio to the base Kawhi, you get a prediction of 41K. But the card only sold for 26. That's interesting. That is an interesting development in the Kawhi market. His Prism Silver right now is only pop 38. So we need to, talk about this in a different context than other Prism Silvers. But there's interesting things going on with Kawhi's market right now that make it watchable. And I noticed that the Clippers just beat the Hawks, or not the Hawks, the Jazz tonight. I almost said the Atlanta Hawks there. They beat the Jazz tonight as well.
I have some like sage wisdom for all my viewers and audience out there. As for my collectors, I've heard this statement like, if that these cards that are not rare and they're kind of boring, and us as collectors aren't interested in them. You got your BGS 9, Fleer 86 Jordans, your Kobe Star Dates, like cards that traditionally we haven't seen really ever warrant value, and all of a sudden they are, and it doesn't make sense to you. And you're like, man, if that card is going for that and I can get a Kawhi RPA for this, like, doesn't make any sense. Then you should go capitalize on that. Because as those new people, they don't know what you know. They don't know that. They don't know that like this card shouldn't be this expensive because traditionally it hasn't been. They're just making up their own rules as they come in. And they're probably going to evolve into the same point that you're at now eventually. Like they're going to eventually realize like, oh man, like Kawhi RPA is like actually a better card. Let me try to get one of those. And you've already accumulated them because you were one step ahead. So like instead of complaining, and I'm guilty of this, instead of complaining about what new people are buying and making mistakes, like quietly take advantage of that and go buy the stuff that you know they're going to want in the future anyways.
Yeah. Let me say something related to that. Things in this hobby are true until they aren't. And things can come along and happen and change that completely changes the way the hobby perceives a player. And so, unpopular opinion alerts, you've all been warned. Kobe was regarded as a top 15, top 10 all-time player as recently as 2 years ago. And Andy Bailey for Bleacher Report published an incredibly thorough piece that put Kobe at 14th, looking at a number of different variables. But now, Kobe is regarded as a Mount Rushmore level player. And there's arguments to be made in favor of that. And there's arguments that would say maybe Andy Bailey had it right the first time. But I think the point here is that, especially from the perspective of the hobby, Kobe, his, for example, 90s inserts once sold for a fourth or a third of Jordan's. Now that gap is Kobe's at like a half or maybe even closer. A lot of those gaps have closed. Without either person playing a single extra minute of basketball. But they're understanding their legacy in culture and history has changed. And, now Kobe is on that Mount Rushmore of basketball cards, on the Mount Rushmore of basketball in general, some might say. Things can change. Kobe is the GOAT of his era. And that's something that is really sinking in with me, is that the GOAT of my era, which is Jordan, the new era doesn't feel that way. They were asking players, current NBA players, NBA rookies, who you got, Jordan or Kobe? And then I saw a clip, 5 of them, Kobe, 5 guys to Kobe over Jordan. Now, I don't know if that was representative of the entire sample of people asked. Maybe they asked 100 people, and those were the 5 that said Kobe. Or maybe they only asked 5, and all those 5 said Kobe. I don't know. But what I do know is that these guys have their own GOAT from their own era who has his own place in sports history. And you know what? This era, this current era that's just starting now with all these new young, those guys are going to have their own GOAT too. And it ain't going to be Kobe, and it ain't going to be Jordan. So maybe it'll be LeBron. I'm sure it'll be LeBron. But after that, there will be another GOAT after LeBron. It doesn't end. It never ends. Each era has its own new GOAT. So that's why I say things are true until they aren't anymore.
Sure. And the same as like talking about how there was a good chunk of time where people didn't like Kobe Bryant. And there was like a definitely a down time for him where he was going to be, there was rumors he was going to be traded. He went through the scandal with his family, and then he had a really bad final few years. Like he was injury plagued, the team was terrible, he was just hanging on, and then he had that amazing final game where he scored 60 and they won, and then he sort of rode off into the sunset with that, and then people started remembering fondly about his better years. They didn't remember those down years. So like you said, things are true until they're not. Things can change. Like people think of Kawhi, they make their opinions of him now. Same for Giannis. Same for Anthony Davis. Those things can evolve. Like, we can eventually think, even it's happening to Tim Duncan, someone pointed out. Like, people thought, oh, no one's going to ever collect Tim Duncan. He's boring. People in their minds start making up today that, like, Duncan was this amazing, charismatic, forceful beast, and they can make that up in their minds because he's not playing anymore. They're prospecting on, like, his past. He's coming up on the Hall of Fame. People are excited again. Tim Duncan prices are going insane. You know, Kawhi might see something similar. And by the same token, history might not be so kind to Giannis, and he might go the other direction, because what if he just keeps this pattern going where he stays with the Bucks, they just never get over the hump, they keep bumping their heads, and then he just never actually evolves, and he turns into, you know, Allen Iverson or something, where it's like it just never worked out and he just fizzles out. That's possible as well. We just, like, we can't know for sure. We're just all speculating and guessing. So you can't, like, make these bold proclamations that, like, no one's ever going to collect Kawhi, he's not collectible, and that Giannis is this amazing future of the NBA, and, you know, he's going to be very collectible. We don't; those two could shift.
That's such a good point that it makes me want to show you something. Show the chat something. All right. Kevin Garnett. Okay. 1995 Topps base PSA 10. This is his Topps rookie card. It has a pop of 190, but let's be honest, a lot of these weren't being graded. This card let's look at the last month. In the last month, this card has gone from $685 to $1,784. This card has appreciated 260%, or 3.6x. In 1 month, Kevin Garnett has gone up almost 4x in 1 month. And we're talking about Topps paper base, PSA 10. If you want to zoom out to 3 months, the card is up almost 700% over 3 months. This is going to Josh's point. There definitely is a logic among new entrants that they're gonna find the next thing. They're gonna move on to the they're gonna move on to the next player.
I'm telling you though, man, this is gonna be Russell Westbrook. I'm telling you, he's gonna be the prime target of this. Like, right now, he's getting bounced around. He's on the Wizards. He's terrible. Everyone hates him. I promise you, history is going to be very kind to Russell Westbrook. Like, people think so fondly of Allen Iverson right now. Iverson was the same as Russell Westbrook. Nobody liked Iverson at the end of his career. He was getting bounced around to the Nuggets. He, like, had to sign with the Sixers at the end just to, like, save face and, like, look like he was back with the Sixers. He was totally disregarded the NBA. Nobody liked him at the end of his career. Russell Westbrook's the same thing. Harden, all these guys, they're going to have a resurgence. Like, people are going to remember them fondly because these guys, like, did amazing things. So that's a shout out to collectors who feel like, oh, like, Russell Westbrook's never going to, like, he'll have his day. Harden will have his day. Chris Paul, some of these guys that, like, they've had great careers. They're just, like, right now, they're kind of in the twilight, and Kobe went through that twilight. I promise you, if Kobe was in playing today and it's like the end of his career where he was having those Achilles injuries and, like, struggling to stay healthy and the team sucked, his prices would be going down right now instead of 10xing, right? So, like, you know, we can never judge someone's long-term career and market outlook in the hobby based on, like, what's happening in the current moment, and that's what's happening across the board. People get FOMO based on what's happening in this very moment. You got to think before and after. You got to think the long, broader term.
Yeah, no, I agree. Also, you got to be careful. You don't want to be the guy who pays $5,000 for a Kevin Garnett Topps base PSA 10, and then the card is $500 3 months later, and you say, "Wait a minute, maybe 2 months worth of rent shouldn't have gone into a Kevin Garnett paper base PSA 10." Not saying that's
obviously, like, yeah, that's why I always say, like, buy guys when they're being disregarded, whether that's because of seasonal effects or because, like, everyone hates Russell Westbrook, people aren't buying Kawhi right now, whatever those reasons are. people aren't buying football right now because football season's over. That's when you buy that stuff to me, you know? Like, I buy stuff when it goes down, when I believe in it, not after it just 3x'd.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Adam Lefko wants to know, what character in The Office is Ken Goldin?
Oh, man.
Well, hold on. Before we do this, we should let our esteemed chat provide some of their.
I don't want to be biased by the chat. Let me think.
All right. Well, you think I don't know The Office well enough to offer an opinion on this anyway.
I want to say Robert California or David Wallace. I'm going to say Robert California.
I don't know. Hold on. I gotta look up who these guys are.
I feel like it's Robert California.
Oh,
Ken, do you watch The
yeah.
Office?
This is the guy from. He's a star of his own show now.
Blacklist.
Yeah.
Someone. All right. What's the chat say?
Dwight.
No, definitely not Dwight.
Not Dwight.
Definitely not Dwight. Ken. Robert California is the answer, guys. I'm telling you. I know my office. And I know Ken. He's Robert California.
This is who, for those like me who might not know that much about The Office, this James Spader plays Robert California. So can somebody explain this to me? Why, how does this work?
Robert California comes in and he like buys the company and he becomes like the de facto CEO towards the end of the show. But he's very like charismatic and believes in what he's doing, and he's like very self-confident.
Nice. Yeah, I'm with Ken. Ken says I would find this funny if I ever watched the show. I don't have a frame reference of it either, but
Ken, trust me, Robert California puts you in a good light.
Putnam says Ken Goldifornia.
I mean, all of the characters are kind of like, you know, funny in nature, and like you wouldn't really want to be any of the characters in real life because they all kind of have like a goofy, like silly, man, like no one wants to be Kevin, right? Like he spills chili all over the place. No one wants to be Michael. He's kind of seen as like the terrible manager. But Robert California is pretty solid.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, unless you're Jim, you know, like everyone kind of gets like painted a bad picture.
Who do we say was the Jim of the hobby? Didn't we say Brett from Stacking Slabs got that?
Yeah. Brett's Jim.
But you know who's also kind of Jim a little bit is you, because I thought about that was because when I watched the Office basketball scene, and Jim turned out to be really good at basketball, just this low key, quiet guy, but he's like secretly good at everything. I was like, Josh might actually be Jim, and we didn't see it the first time around.
I feel like I'm becoming Stanley though. Like over time, I'm just becoming.
Josh is Jim and Chris is Pam.
I'm Pam?
Yeah.
Give me a break. What?
Everybody likes Pam. Pam's
No.
got a little sauce to her. Right?
Chris is Ryan.
Ryan is that
Business.
Yeah. All right.
Business school. You went to law school. Come on, man.
Yeah, Ryan. God, I hated Ryan when I watched. I remember some of the episodes. I saw that must be why. It's just because I see myself in him.
No, I want to be Gabe. I think Gabe's hilarious. He's like underrated.
Ken is more like Bob Saget.
Ken
From which
says
show?
what?
Bob Saget's played a lot of different characters.
I might be the HR guy. Toby? No, I don't want to be fucking Toby.
No one wants to be Toby.
What's wrong with
Toby's
Toby? I
not.
thought Toby
He's
was
the
like-
worst. No, Toby is the worst. He's like they all have like their flaws, but everyone like agrees to agree that Toby's the worst.
All right, take that. Ozark. Why is everybody talking about Ozark?
Because Ken said he liked that show. That's a good show.
It is a good show.
Why does crossover always just turn into Office? Because I don't know why.
Nobody
Someone
wants to be Kevin.
DM'd me today, and they were like, "Where do I send my suggestions for card letter?" And I was like, "Straight into the suggestion box where no one reads them." There's an episode of Office where they go through the suggestion box and it's like really old suggestions because it's clear they've never looked through it before.
I've never looked through it either, but Christina does, though. For those who do send in questions, comments through the web application, and there are thousands of them, Christina reads all of them. So, and most of you have probably heard back from her, right? Many, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm behind right now because it's tax season, but yeah.
Yeah.
I've been filling that gap, Christina. I've been going through I've been an elf lately. I've been cleaning that out for you.
I know, you're awesome, Josh. I appreciate you.
I also went through the Gmail account and read every one because I can't stand to see unread messages.
No, but they're unread because I need to respond to them.
I did. No, I went through and read them all and responded. There were 3 guys that had outstanding things they needed done. I was like, I guess I'll do this for this guy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, nope. Ken's the goat of the bottled liquid products on his lives. So I've got the can. I'm the can guy. Ken, you're the bottled guy.
Yeah, Ken has Perrier, and Josh has White Claw.
No, not tonight. Truly.
Oh, I'd never heard about that.
Chris, he's trying to pretend like he's sick.
Don't know what that is. J Pine 38 says, thanks for emailing me back, Josh, and fixing my collection. Yeah, we like to do that. Garrett, I hear you, dude. I definitely hear you.
I like to break stuff so that I fix it and people like me. Isn't that smart?
No, because for every time you do that, I get 5 messages. At least.
Yeah, we need to add more baseball cards, Chris. What's going on over there? Do you even add cards?
We do. I don't know. Do cards even get added to this? How does that happen? Yeah, we know Rodman. You love Robert. We have Robert. We have some Robert, dude. Rodman took a video the other day he posted to his story. This guy has 20 gold Luis Robert rookie cards.
I know.
Where the hell did that come from, guy?
Because Rodman does it a smart way where he posts stuff that we expect him to collect, but then all of a sudden he's quietly been amassing something else. Smart.
Ooh, Naomi Osaka cards. I like that. Yeah,
that's
Rodman.
The tennis player.
Yeah.
She's good, right? She just beat Serena.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Damn. Serena is in all these crazy goat of goat conversations recently. Have you noticed that?
Yep, her name gets put in there. I have to profess ignorance on that topic.
23 majors, I believe. That's insane. She is really good.
Yeah. Well, damn. I didn't know that she just lost. All right.
She has no good cards. So her only rookie card, which is really lame, is super expensive now.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. I remember when Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder, I went and looked up both of their rookie cards, and neither guy has anything. It was terrible. It was.
I told you. Oh, come on! Federer would destroy Serena Williams. Come on! I can't respond to that. Federer.
So awesome,
don't let him troll you. When I first look. When I first met Christina, she thought that the UConn women's basketball team would be able to beat the men's team.
I still do.
Everyone stop. This is like saying the Alabama Crimson Tide would beat the Jaguars. No. Stop. Every player on the Jaguars is a professional football player. Only 10 on Alabama is professional. I don't want to hear any of that stuff.
Okay, but the UConn women's basketball team.
I'm sorry I brought that up.
They have the best to pro ratio than any other college team.
I get it, and they destroy all other women's teams. You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
yep.
Thank you, Ken.
Yep.
The 100th ranked male player, Roger Federer, would destroy Serena Williams. I played tennis. I played a lot of tennis. I know how the game works.
Are we really having this debate right now?
Federer is an absolute wizard with the racket. He would destroy her.
The wizard with
Federer is my top 3 athlete of all time. It goes LeBron, Anthony Hardaway, then third is Roger Federer. The dude is a freaking wizard.
That's the top three right there. I love that top three.
Just imagine if here's Federer. I'll try to put it in perspective for you. If Steph Curry was like the most like physically dominant player.
Okay.
Like he's just like he's got like the crazy trick shots that like wow you that anyone can do it, but he's also just got like a crazy power. Oh, dude, he just got it all. So good.
Nice.
He's like Steph Curry's skill with the peak of like LeBron Jordan championships. It's crazy.
That's sick. Rodman wants to know where's Brady at on your list. Rodman, the new hoarder of Brady Golds, Brady Prism Golds, wants to know where is Brady on your list.
On my goat of goats, I don't really like Brady. Kind of amazing. Something about him and like his like perfect life kind of bothers me. I'm just not a big fan of him.
Talk about it. Let's talk about this a little bit.
I mean, people are going to say this back to me about my love for LeBron. I totally get it. I'm extremely aware of the fact that like I hype everything LeBron and then I turn around and say I don't like Brady. It's like basically the same thing. But you know, the guy's had like he's had like the perfect life. I don't know. It just kind of bothers me. I don't know. Like I feel like he's always had the perfect situation, and it just bothers me. Like Belichick's the best coach of all time. His team is always really good. He's clearly proven me wrong with the Bucks because he just like switched teams and won a Super Bowl. He's obviously amazing. He's the GOAT of football. I'll give him that. I'd rather have LeBron than Brady.
Talk about Aaron Rodgers a little bit.
I think Rodgers is a better football player. I just think Rodgers is better.
I like hearing these takes.
He was better in that game. I don't want to hear about how Brady's better than Rodgers after that game. Brady threw 3 picks. It was super clear to me. I watched every snap of that game. Rodgers was let down by several key aspects, and Brady was not let down by his teammates. That's, you know, I'm probably wrong, but that's okay.
I like hearing the take that's just not that people don't always say. This is late hour 2. Shit, we're in hour 3. That's an hour 3 take for you right there.
Well, come on, man, respond. Sitting here throwing me out on an island.
I don't know. I like hearing these takes. I'm the boring guy. I don't have any takes. I got a couple of stats in my head. That's it.
You're just the host. Come on, I need you to be the color. Come on.
You're the color. I'm the host.
Yeah, definitely LeBron is more like Brady. Sorry, LeBron is more like Rodgers and Brady's more like Jordan. And it seems like the people that like Jordan like Brady more than the people that like LeBron. So I get it. Like I'm definitely in that camp. And so, you know, it's kind of maybe like a personality plus like talent versus winning kind of thing. Like I get it.
Yeah. Those do seem to go together. The problem is Rodgers is going to need to get a couple more championships, and LeBron's going to have to stop getting any more for that comparison to keep on making sense.
Yeah, LeBron is definitely like a couple tiers above Rodgers because he's got more championships, he's got better statistics. But I feel like Rodgers. I think history is going to be very kind to him as well, post-career.
I could see that. I could also see Aaron Rodgers having 6 to 8 more. 6 to 8. He's 37. I don't know. Is Brady starting a new thing here, or are most guys not going to make it to their early to mid 40s?
I mean, Breeze is 41, 42, so
yeah, he's just about done.
Rodgers looked really good last year.
Dude, Rodgers by some metrics had his best year ever.
Yeah, but Manning only has 2 championships. LeBron has 4. Like, I get that LeBron isn't Jordan and Brady because he's just like he doesn't have that like winning streak like those guys do. I'm fully aware of that. Like he doesn't have that killer win it at all costs kind of thing like those guys do. But he's also better. He's also a much better winner than Manning, Rodgers, Marino. You know, some of these other guys that people want to like comp him to because he's like uber talented. He also is a very good winner. LeBron is a very good winner.
Yeah, and LeBron isn't done, which matters on a lot of levels.
Sure.
Number one, he isn't done, so let's see how many more championships and MVPs come before we start measuring that career. And it's also possible that LeBron has a year or two akin to MJ's Wizards years, where all of his averages get dragged down a little bit.
I hope he does.
It can happen. So like, it's all premature. It's all super premature. But there is not a football comp to LeBron, in my opinion.
I'm a big believer in playing out your career where you don't end up the best. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a fan of the Elway route where you retire a champion. I'm a fan of, like, I'm not fucking giving this thing up. I don't care what young star is better than me. Like, I want to see him go down in flames as opposed to going out on top. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Jordan did it. I love a guy that's just like so stubborn, and they're so into their GOAT status, and like they're gonna hold on to it for like 3 years longer than they should. I love that.
Like Kobe?
Like, dude, yeah, like Kobe. That's why people like him, man. I'm telling you. They don't like it during that 3-year span, but they love it after. I promise you. That's gonna happen to LeBron too.
Agree.
What do you tell me more about?
I don't know. I could see LeBron. I can see LeBron cutting it off when there still might be a little more gas in the tank.
Nope. He's going down as an old. He's gonna go down as like a post player at 42. Promise you. He's gonna finish with like 45,000 career points, like in the post. Just like he's gonna have no hair. He's gonna be super like weird looking. He's just gonna be like dishing to 3-point shooters in the post.
That's great.
I kind of would love to do that.
I think that would be good for sports fandom and for the hobby too. Any year that has LeBron in it is better than it's not.
Yeah, he'll be averaging 18 points and 7 assists his last year, something like that. He's always going to be pretty good. Like MJ still had 50-point games to the Wizards. Don't get it twisted. The dude is still the best player on the team. Granted, the teams were terrible, but like people don't talk about the Wizards years too because they don't want to like paint Jordan's career at all. And the same is going to happen for LeBron. Like people are going to just like paint it however they want, right? And they're going to make up years that he was bad at the end, and people just like try to forget that he ever played for the Wizards because those teams were terrible. They didn't even make the playoffs, did they?
No.
They were terrible.
No. And there was bad injuries halfway through both years. Boulevard of Cards says next level LeBron is ball LeBron. See, I want to talk about that for a second as an expert on this topic. I would like to see LeBron embrace the natural shiny dome, the chrome dome, as they say.
Come home.
I just, I would like to see it happen.
You know what he could do? He could go the Brady route and get fake hair.
He could do that. I think he's already been doing a little bit of that, maybe, perhaps. Trae Young is another guy who could really embrace the chrome dome.
Oh my God, Trae
His hair is fake?
awful.
No, I don't think his hair is fake, but
No, Trae Young's hair is fake. Look at his front hairline. That was not like that last year.
yeah.
You know that Tom Brady's hair is fake, right?
No, because I don't follow Tom Brady like that. Like you were talking about his perfect life. What
I don't
life?
know.
He has no life if it's not on the football field.
She get a little.
Tom Brady's had plastic surgery on his face, and his hair is fake. You heard it here first.
I would imagine he probably did and would
She's like totally trying to recover from this.
What?
Nothing. No, go ahead. You're like, I don't pay attention to Brady. I've been on these SEC episodes. You love Brady.
Plastic surgery.
So what if he has some plastic surgery?
I don't care.
The Anthony Bennett sold for like $500.
Yeah, let's talk about this Anthony Bennett for a second.
It sold for like $500.
Guys,
right?
anytime you need to know some like a really important, fake sale, something shilling going on, just go to LaMelo James's page. I guarantee the guy has a meme on it. So we're gonna go to LaMelo James here. You know you've really hit hour 3 when you're going to LaMelo James's page.
You're featuring it.
He had a meme about this. Oh, wait. Here we go.
40,000 down to $500.
Here we go. All right. I'm gonna play the meme with it too.
$300. I was going high. My bad.
Yeah, you were giving a little too much benefit of the doubt there.
It's kind of a cool card though. No joke.
Yeah,
I still like that.
I think the right price is somewhere in between.
Ooh, so like 20,000.
Somewhere in between $44,000 and $374. So yeah,
I'm gonna be bald tomorrow, Adam. I'm just gonna like wake up bald. I deserve it.
come on home. Come on over to this team.
I don't know if you saw me pre-haircut, but my hair was like super long. So you're home alone, my friend.
Yeah. Yes, three. Yeah, well, I'll be home alone for a while. I have the hair of a 65-year-old.
When did that happen? When did this start for you?
So I remember. Wow, this is gonna be a weird story. I took choir when I was in high school. Me and a friend of mine took choir.
Loser.
Look, we took choir.
Now I know why you collect sports cards.
So we were in choir, and my choir teacher, I sat down to like play on the piano for a second, and my choir teacher came over afterwards and was like, is hair coming out of your head? And I was like, what are you talking about? I don't know. I had very thick hair, very, very thick hair. Right. And that was the first time it ever was brought to my attention. I must have been 16 or 17.
Oh no.
That was the first time it was ever brought to my attention. But fortunately for me, I don't have to look at the back of my head. Everybody else does. So it wasn't. And then when I was like 20 or 21, a small bald pattern began to appear. And then now, how old am I? 34? 34. Now I'm 34. And
you can like rattle off like sales histories of every card, but you don't know how old you are. You have to ask Christina. Did anyone else pick up on that? You're like, when's my birthday?
Told somebody I was 35 the other day, and then I'm not though. So then we get to where we are today. You're
the senior member of the card ladder team.
That's right.
You bring all the sage wisdom to this team. I'm just the young gun.
Yeah. Yep. Josh is the spring chicken. Boulevard of Cards says, I'm almost there with you. Save money on shampoo. Yeah.
So at what point did someone say, "You bald motherfucker"?
That is a damn good question. Maybe about 25. About 20.
That's when you came. That's when you came home.
Yeah. It definitely was. But even as recently as last year, see, now we record Sports Cards Culture, so I really need to have a shaved head or I'll look stupid, and it will be recorded. But when I was in law school, even last year, I would go months at a time without cutting my hair. So I don't know. You can make that what you will.
Has anyone else noticed that Gary Vee quotes at like the wrong time? Does anyone else notice that? He'll be like, no. He's like, I think you should buy the card at $200. You're like, that's not what the quote is for, Gary. You can't just do that whenever you feel like it.
It somehow emphasizes the point maybe a little bit better.
And then we get back to collecting cards. So we're not collecting them, or I'm not sure if you know what that means.
Indeed.
Someone knows what I'm talking about. He does it at the weirdest times.
Let's bid farewell to Ken Goldin for keeping us serious even an hour or two while we have a hobby luminary in the chat. Thank you for stopping by, Ken. Congratulations once more. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun going through. You must have 10 million DMs, man. So enjoy.
And you stuck around for 30 minutes of complete nonsense. That is a true legend.
Yes, yes, indeed. As the chat bids farewell to Ken as well. I don't know. It's just different when you got hobby legends in the chat like Ken and Lefko and all you other beasts out there. Yeah. So Ken's talking about there was a headline related to Mark Cuban. So Mark Cuban retweeted a blog relating to Top Shot, and then there was some comments coming out from Cuban that said, "I'm not so sure about sports cards." And then Ken is saying, "Yeah, guess what? Mark Cuban is now invested into Goldin auctions."
They say, judge a man by his actions, not his words.
Let's go.
I just made that up, but it's like, are you saying that Top Shot's better than sports cards, or are you spending millions of dollars on sports cards and not Top Shot? Just, I usually figure out what someone actually believes by where they spend their money, not what they say.
Yeah, we learned that from Hobby Instagram, do we not?
LaMeme teaches me everything I need to know about when people say stupid things.
Dude, LaMeme has the page of the hobby, man. 11.9K followers. I saw him grind his way up from nothing. And
Dude, I go to his for. I said it to him in my interview with him, but it's like he's like a balance where it's like if I see the same crap on Facebook over and over and over of should I sell this or grade it and Hall of Fame induction pending and stuff like that, I go to LaMeme's page to like get validation on what I want to see in terms of like, gosh, we can't all be thinking the same thing, right? Someone has to be like, this is ridiculous. And he says exactly what I'm thinking to a T in a post form in a funny meme. And I'm just like, thank you, LaMeme.
Yeah, I don't know if Ken is gone or not yet, but Ken was recently immortalized in a LaMeme meme. You can see the Goldin rocket ship is going. Is that the
Mars?
Moon? Is that Mars? The Goldin rocket
Mars.
ship is going to Mars. It's going
Fuck the moon.
well beyond the moon. So that's high praise from LaMeme. Let me tell you, that's high praise from LaMeme.
Getting into a LaMeme meme is like.
That's when you made it. I think Adam Lefko said that's when he knew he was a big deal in the hobby, was when he first appeared in a LaMeme.
I think LaMeme needs to make something about, the hair challenged folks.
Yeah. Can we get some appreciation for that?
Because, dude, you're basically LeBron James.
I mean, if all we're talking about is follicle counts, then I think the comp works. Our follicle efficiency rate might be on par.
Yeah, he's also got a lot more money to fix that problem than you do. He's in a movie and all of a sudden he's got hair. It's like, whoa, look at that! How'd that happen? Oh, they CGI that on there or what?
Yeah, no, and more power to him. But I'm saying for all of us out there who could use a real role model and a spokesperson who's in the modern game, because Jordan was embraced the bald mantle.
Actually, I have a topic here. This is going to be a very good topic, I feel.
All right.
How much does someone's appearance have to do with their collectability? Like, not just their appearance, like what they look like and but like their sort of their swagger and their like, you know what I mean? Like the way they dress, the way that they carry it. Like Jordan had a lot of swag. He had the one earring, the hoop earring. He's got his own style.
Baggy suits and shit. Yeah.
He's got the shoe line with, he's got the fashion thing going, and LeBron's got the fashion. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yes.
People have been debating this in terms of like Jokic or Vucevic, like some of the white players. Like people feel like that might be holding them back in the hobby, and
Sure.
it's a tough topic to jump into, but like it plays a part, right?
Yeah, I was trying to think of an example of somebody who just for totally not. Oh, Chris Middleton.
Yep.
So Chris
Great
Middleton,
example.
because Jokic, it was definitely true of him like last year and the year before. But now this year, dude, Jokic's Donruss PSA 10 rookies are going for close to 1,000. His Prism Silver is the same price as Devin Booker's, and they're both from the same year. So like Jokic has cleared whatever uncool hurdle he had to clear. He's on par with Devin Booker now. Both guys are from the same draft class. But Chris Middleton, all right, he's going to be a year in and year out all-star, but just there's nothing flashy. And I think he's a great example of a guy who does suffer hobby-wise.
This is definitely a thing, right? It's like definitely a thing. Nobody likes to talk about it because it's weird to comment on other dudes' looks and stuff, but it's a thing. Because like we as humans are like attracted to certain things, and we want to like invest our money in those things too, right? Like we want to see things that are flashy, interesting to look at. It's part of it.
Yeah. Now, Conrad makes a point. He says maybe the thing about Chris Middleton is that his game isn't flashy either.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. It's not just like physical appearance looks. I meant like the whole thing, like the style, the swag, the flashiness to their game. It all matters.
Yeah.
And dude, Jokic couldn't jump over a fucking pencil either. Like the dude had like zero flash and athleticism to his game. It's all skill and like using every like inch on the court.
Lefko says, speaking of guys' looks, I'm attracted to Wash. Where's he at? I added this speaking of guys' looks part. He didn't actually say that part.
I haven't gone on a big rant yet. It's not time.
There hasn't been anything rant-worthy. We got some great comments and questions. We didn't get 8 questions about what's the ratio to PSA 9 to PSA 10.
Yeah.
And then B, it's just been good. It's been good topics, good bands. There's nothing really to rant. What is there to rant about this week? Is there anything? Is there anything rant?
Someone give me another example of like a super good player that's held back because of their style.
Or their appearance.
Yeah, whatever. Same thing. Or the opposite, where like they're people are giving them high praise because they're flashy looking dudes.
Yeah. Garrett says Tim Duncan.
Yeah, totally. Dude, he's like the worst dresser in basketball history.
MJ gives him a run for his money. You ever seen what MJ wears?
Dude, are you kidding me? At that time, that was like what it was. He wore suits when everyone else was wearing baggy jeans and stuff. MJ was...
I feel like he did not update, though.
It's okay. I feel like MJ was super, like... He had like the... what's it, like the leg thing before people had leggings. He had like the armband. He was all about that swag. He had like the necklace in the dunk contest. Come on, man. Give MJ some credit. He had the gold chain in that dunk contest. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I do.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, like, he lived in the 90s. Give the man a break. He had the cologne line. Can you just get the picture of the gold chain in the dunk contest, please?
All right, hold on. Let me get the gold chain. I believe that his Topps Archives card, I think, depicts that, actually.
And then he embraced baldness really early and just, like, went completely clean-shaven. Got the hoop earring. He nailed it.
The hoop earring, yeah.
Dude, that is swag to the max. When he played in the 80s, he was the first guy to start doing this kind of stuff, like the high fly Duncan, the necklaces. Come on. Klay Thompson's a good one. That's a good one. Klay Thompson's a good example.
The big three on the Warriors at their peak, Durant, Curry, and Klay, average 74 points per game. The Nets' big three averages 81 points per game.
It's so ridiculous. You're right, man. The Nets are so good. I might be wrong on that Bucks-Nets stuff.
That team is perhaps the most, at least on the offensive side of things, perhaps the most stacked big three we've ever seen.
On the offense, it's without a doubt. It's the best 3 offensive players ever been assembled together. It's insane. Harden is like one of the best offensive players of all time. Kevin Durant is one of the best offensive players of all time. Kyrie Irving is one of the best offensive. They're all on the same fucking team.
Yeah, it does seem.
Dude, history is going to be very kind to James Harden. I promise you. Like, he's not super loved right now, but history is going to be good to him.
Yeah. That's what I've heard people say. Is that when people look back at numbers, because that's all we can look back at 10, 20 years, from now, we just look back, what's James Harden's basketball reference? And people say when people look back at James Harden's statistics year after year, they're going to say, like, what the hell was going on? And why was this guy not more revered when he was active? Let me see if I can illustrate this.
People are already saying it. Like, I'm still gonna hate him no matter what. I don't know.
So James Harden, in 2018, he averaged 36 points a game. In 2019, he averaged 34 points a game. That type of like back-to-back, like 35 points per game, basically, is kind of unheard of.
It's like MJ. It's like MJ before he was winning.
Yeah, it's like early MJ, exactly.
But he also had like 9 assists and shit, dude.
Yeah, so like in 2018, he averaged 8 assists, and in 2019, he averaged 8 assists a game. 8 assists a game both years. And 7 rebounds a game. He had 36, 8, and 7 in 2018, and he shot 37% from 3.
If the playoffs started today and everyone was healthy, I'd probably even pick the Nets. Like, they just beat up on the Lakers the other night. I mean, the Lakers didn't have Anthony Davis, but the Nets didn't have Kevin Durant, and their offense was amazing.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
It's like a video game. It's like watching a video game. There's so much offense. It's like, oh my gosh. This is like the ultimate experience of like, what if it was just all offense and nobody cared about defense? They just outscored everybody. Like the Suns, except like if they only had superstars, like all NBA players.
Yeah, and I just think about it takes time for teams to gel.
They've played like 5 games together.
That's what I'm saying. They have not played many games together yet. So I look at the Nets and I see, an Eastern Conference favorite for sure. But what was really disappointing about last night's game, even though the Nets were missing Durant and the Lakers were missing AD, so you might say the Lakers were missing like their 1B and the Nets were missing their 1A, it wasn't really equivalent because for matchup purposes, the Lakers missing AD is a really big deal. That means they don't have that rim protector on defense that's going to make it really – that's just going to take away so many options that the driving kick game gets stunted tremendously when you have a nice rim protector in there because it takes away the drive. So you can stay home more on the shooters. And Brooklyn shot really well from 3, partially because they were getting a lot of good looks. So like things can really change right there. But I do look forward to it seems like the inevitable finals is going to be Lakers, assuming AD is healthy, and in Nets. And that's going to be a finals, I think, that's going to be one to remember.
Schroeder was out.
What's that?
They didn't have Dennis Schroeder either.
That indeed, and missing 2 starters or a key rotation player and then your 1B is huge. People do not give enough recognition to how important a guy like a Schroeder is to a team, especially when the team only has like 7 or 8 guys who really should be getting run.
We all know that LeBron's weakness is going up against teams that just shoot the lights out. Like, the team like the Warriors, obviously, they just threes are worth more than twos, and LeBron's not as good of a 3-point shooter as these guys. That's his weakness, is running into teams like this.
Although he has been shooting well this year from 3.
Yeah. I mean, that's not his game, though.
No. No, it's not. But
the Clippers aren't going anywhere, man. They're still really good. I still feel like the Lakers still have to get through the Clippers, the Jazz, the Suns. Like, it's not going to be easy for those 2 teams to just walk to the finals.
Yep.
The Sixers are looking really good. The Bucks, I think, will come back and play better. The Celtics will probably give them a fight. Like, you can't just pencil teams into the finals.
No, you can't. And, Portland is 18-10. I think they have just about the same record as the 76ers have. And they're doing it in the West.
That's interesting.
And you got the Nuggets, who,
Nuggets.
you know, they obviously took a step back. The Nuggets and the Bucks both have taken what seems like a step back, but we've only played 30-some games.
Yeah,
and it takes time for teams to gel.
The Nuggets have the top end talent to do anything in the playoffs. Like, they're going to be there.
Yeah, Lefko was saying Murray went off for like 50 tonight.
Yeah, he was like 21 of 25 shooting. Like, dude, that's the thing about the modern NBA game. And I kind of agree with Kevin Garnett that, like, all these guys are so goddamn good. All of them, like, every player is so skilled and so good that it's like, if you're a weak player, you get exposed so fast on the court. Like,
yeah,
if you're not a top-end dude, you're just going to get fucking crushed on a modern NBA court because every inch of the floor is used in a certain efficient manner that, like, dude, you stand out real bad.
Yeah, it's true. Especially kind of like the wing position and guards have developed shooting and defense in a really crazy way. But like the center position and like the rim protection and the physicality has taken a step back.
Sure.
So the Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, Dikembe Mutombo days, like, it's just different. It's just a different game right now.
Dude, I mean, like the Lakers could like outplay the Nets. They could out physical them. They could like beat them up on the boards. They could shoot a better percentage. But if the Nets hit their threes, it doesn't matter. That's the point of the modern game. Like, the Nets hit like 16 threes in the first three quarters, and it doesn't even matter what the Lakers are doing. They're winning the game.
Yep, that's so freaking true. So we talk about the Nets' big three, rightfully so. But you know who might be the biggest beneficiary of the Nets having this big three is their number 4, Joe Harris.
Yeah, he's wide open.
Dude, he's wide open, and he's a freaking marksman. So
he's shooting like 50% from three or some shit.
Dude, on the season. So this includes before Harden came as well. On the season, Joe Harris is shooting 51% from three.
I feel like every time he's open, it's a fucking swish. Every time.
He's a beast. He's a freaking beast. Dude, against the Lakers, he shot 86% from three.
That's what worries me about the Lakers is their 4th and 5th dudes don't knock down threes, and the Nets do. And it's like, that's what always kicked the LeBron's butt in the finals was like those dudes in the Warriors all just hit threes. It's like you can just boil a lot of these games down to like who hits more threes, and it's kind of annoying because but that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Now, Kyle Kuzma sometimes looks like great to me, and other times looks unplayable.
Dude, unplayable. So annoying. Like, they're shooting mid-range jumpers and breaking threes. It's like, this isn't working, dude.
Yeah.
Like, they need Wes Matthews to be like 5 years younger, like making all of his threes. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying not to overreact to that game, but I saw a lot of stuff where I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah. You cannot overreact to that game because if you have rim protection, which they did not at all. So Gasol has not looked good this year to me. That's just my take. And Harrell, see, my opinion remains the same, that I think the Lakers would have been wise to retain their rim protection, McGee and or Howard. I think those guys, I would take either of those guys over Montrezl Harrell. Right. That's my take. Because I would take both of them over Harrell. And the reason why is because the playmaking and the scoring that Harrell gives them is not as valuable as being able to throw in rim protection when you play a team that centers its game around driving and kicking. Because if you have rim protection, and so you know that James Harden is going to have a much harder time finishing, it allows the other defenders to stay home on the shooters. So to me, they don't need to help as much. So like to me, like if you put Anthony Davis in that game, that game is going to look very different, even if the Nets also have Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I'm not really that worried. I mean, this playoffs change things so much. Like you could tell these guys just like kick it up a massive notch.
Yes, true that.
We'll see. Got any last minute questions? Getting to the end here.
Let's see if we can wrap it up. If anybody in the chat wants to throw one last question at us as I browse our list of questions here. We got through quite a few questions today. I'll just acknowledge a few questions, but so Drake says, does anybody have thoughts on Leaf bringing back Pro Set? I don't think Josh or I have looked too closely into that, but I do want to acknowledge it. Mike Pinkerton says, what do you think about Pokemon? I saw you bought a Happy Meal. I think that one might have been for Christina. Had some questions about football, undervalued players and sets. That would have been good to get to. Sparky Collect had a great question. He said, what is NBA Hoops' place in the hobby in basketball card history? NBA Hoops. Can you give us a few, 15, 20 seconds on NBA Hoops? No.
I can't even think of a Hoops had some cool inserts in the late 90s.
Yeah. And it was one of the early brands too.
I like their insert. They're usually good for at least one cool insert.
Yeah, the insert game is on point. Like they had the NBA City, right? Am I an idiot?
Yes, they do have NBA City.
And they had High Voltage 500 sweet cards. They had some cool inserts where it's like, man, I thought this was a low-end product. These are nice.
This year they have the Slam cards.
Yeah, this year they have a really popular set. Yeah, so as Conrad points out, Conrad's been killing the chat, by the way. I can't. That dude is 16 years old. Just let that sink in. The Slam cards.
Those are cool.
I've been adding these to Card Ladder because I think they are worthy of tracking, even though they're all going to follow the familiar trajectory. But it's like here's a LeBron Slam Hollow.
That's cool, man.
Dude, look at this set. This set is pretty sick.
That's so cool. Yeah, it's awesome.
The Kobe one is pretty epic too.
I feel like Hoops has nothing to lose, so they're like, you know what? Let's just try something new.
Yes, it is definitely a place where ideas can get trotted out.
Like National Treasures, they're not taking any risk. Prism, no risk. Just do what they do, print their money. Hoops is like, nobody cares about Hoops. Let's do whatever we want.
So
that's cool.
It is cool. It's a cool set.
Because also on a lot of them, I think on every single one of them, they have other players' names as if it's a magazine and there's an article about them.
Could we delete Clearly Donruss from Card Ladder's database?
Yeah, we definitely can. I hate
those cards suck. They're so bad.
I hate tracking those.
You know why they suck? Here's why. People get so mad that you guys added fucking Clearly Donruss, but you didn't add whatever baseball player. You idiots. And I'm like, I kind of agree with you.
Yeah, no, dude, that's a very fair point. We added all those Clearly Donruss on one night when
you were drunk.
Yeah, basically circumstances required it. But here's the thing I don't like about the Slam insert.
Okay.
Here are the parallels. Winter Hollow, Purple Explosion, and then one numbered, which is Green Explosion out of 89.
That's terrible.
There's no 1 of 1, which is very annoying. There's no gold out of 10. There's no artist proof. So Hoops likes to use the artist proof. There's no artist proof out of 25. just a bunch of unnumbered stuff. Artist proof.
Press proof.
No, press proof is a different thing. Artist
Am
proof
I,
is its own thing.
dude? If these guys ever made like one unnumbered parallel and one numbered parallel, I feel like people would just love that. Am I crazy? Make a freaking base, a hollow unnumbered, and like a gold 10. That's it.
Well, that's one of the things I liked about NBA City. Although the NBA City card has been significantly diluted by the fact that NBA Hoops Premium Edition or NBA Hoops Premium stock came out. And it's the same exact card, just with a stamp on it. So, like, in effect, the supply just doubled. But originally, when it was only the NBA City, they just had the hollow, they had the base, the hollow, artist proof, and I think gold, and that's it. That's all they had.
The Net Marbles only has the base.
Yeah, Net Marbles is exactly what
press
Josh is talking
proof,
about.
And then the one.
Net Marbles has base unnumbered, press proof, which some people also call gold unnumbered, and one of one. That's it.
That's cool. Yeah, it's like I have very distinct things, lanes that I can get into. Either I just go for the base, or I kind of want like the rare, cool looking, or I'm going for that Uber chase. That's it.
Yeah.
But hoops is meant for kids, so I kind of maybe like the hoops being for kids and everything being unnumbered is more fun for the kids.
Yep. Yes, indeed. All right. Well, that puts us at 3 hours. So it's been a great show. We come on and give you guys 3 hours, and now the clock starts again. How many hours is in a week? 24
Too many.
times 7. 160.
Dude, literally, like on Wednesdays, I'm like, bro, is it Friday yet? I need a crossover.
Yeah. So barring any extraordinary news items or auctions ending, we will talk to you guys 165 hours from now. However, Clubhouse, we can get.
I don't have an iPhone.
We're gonna get Josh a mod. Is that what it's called, or a hack or something?
Get those fuckers to build an Android app. I did
Yeah.
it. I built an
That's what
Android
I was
app
about
and
to
an
say.
iOS app.
Cardletter has an Android application that is available in the Google Store.
Some guys can build apps in React Native, and some guys can't.
Yam, Conrad, Tim, it's an honor to have you on, buddy. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody in the chat. Thank you Adam Lefko for bringing Ken Goldin into the chat. And
that was fun.
Who did we say he was from The Office?
Robert California.
So it was a hell of a night.
He's like Frasier.
Carvin. Great to see you as well, dude. Jay Lee. See you guys next week.
Peace.